Hey guys, welcome to a journey through time where epic conquests and boundless ambition take center stage. From the scorching deserts of Persia to the snow-capped peaks of the Hindu Kush, from the raging waters of the Hydaspes River to the vast steppes of Central Asia, we'll meet one of history's greatest conquerors, Alexander the Great. Forget golden crowns. This king brought battles drenched in blood, genius tactics, and moments of mercy that left the world whispering in awe. These tales, drawn from ancient historians like Arrian and Plutarch, are packed with drama, courage, and a touch of tantalizing rumor. Let's dive in and savor them together. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you're truly loving what we're doing here. Don't forget to drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is there. It's amazing to see folks from all over the globe joining in. Now, dim the lights, turn on a fan for that soft hum, settle into your cozy bed, relax your body, think about the most wonderful thing you've ever experienced that you still remember fondly, and let the gentle sounds guide you. Let's board the time machine together and embark on tonight's adventure. Step onto the banks of the Hydaspes River, where monsoon rains roar, war elephants bellow, and Alexander faces the limits of his own ambition. Can you hear the winds of Macedonia whispering secrets of a boy destined to conquer the stars? Picture yourself on a rugged hill in Pella, 356 BCE, where moonlight bathes the stone palaces in a silvery glow, the air heavy with the scent of pine resin and distant sea salt from the Aegean. The soft rustle of olive leaves brushes against your sandals, and the faint thud of hooves echoes from the valley below. No late-night scrolling to distract you, just the hum of a world alive with gods and heroes. Imagine commanding an army before you could legally drive, like leading a Discord server with no mute button and actual swords. In this ancient tapestry of clashing city-states and divine omens, Alexander emerges, his courage a blazing comet, his tragedy a shadow cast by wine's allure. Be thankful your battles end with a snooze button, not a battlefield's roar, as we drift into his legend. You stand in the heart of ancient Greece, feeling the sun-warmed marble of Athens' agora beneath your feet, the scent of burning olive oil from temple braziers curling through the air. It's the 4th century BCE, a world of glittering city-states, each a defiant spark in a fractured land. Athens pulses with wisdom, where Socrates' questions linger like echoes in the Parthenon's shadow, and Plato's debates hum like a podcast with no skip option. The Temple of Athena stands proud, its stone cool to the touch, yet the air buzzes with political schemes, sharper than any TikTok drama. No coffee shops for philosophical rants, just open-air arguments that shape empires. Across the rugged hills, Sparta's iron heart beats, the clang of shields and spears ringing through Laconia's valleys, the acrid scent of sweat and metal ever present. Boys are forged into warriors from childhood, their lives a relentless grind of discipline, like surviving a fitness app with no off switch. You feel the weight of their honor, unyielding as the rocky paths they march. Yet Greece is no harmony of ideals. Decades of the Peloponnesian War, from 431 to 404 BCE, have scarred the land, leaving fields soaked in blood and cities like Thebes and Corinth crumbling under pride's cost. No group chats to vent frustrations, just broken oaths and smoldering ruins. The winds carry a darker chill, whispers of Persia's vast empire looming eastward, its gold and armies a nightmare that haunts every Greek. Over a century ago, Xerxes' hordes burned Athens, their war cries like thunder from Persepolis to Sardis, the scent of smoke still a memory in the air. Though turned back at Salamis and Plataea, Persia's shadow lingers, its chariots rumble a constant threat. Facing such might without unity, like trying to win a multiplayer game with no teammates online. Greece's city-states bicker, too proud to join hands, their divisions a wound that festers under the gods' gaze. In the north, Macedonia stirs, its mountains cradling green valleys, the air thick with the scent of dry grass and horse sweat. Mocked as barbarians by southern elites, its tribes blend Greek finesse with Thrace's wild spirit, their rituals to Dionysus filling the night with ecstatic chants. Pella, the capital, thrums with life. Markets buzzing with traders' shouts, forges clanging with hammer strikes, the earthy aroma of fresh bread mingling with leather. No skyscrapers or neon signs, just stone palaces standing firm against the wind. Here, Philip II, a warrior king with a gaze like forged steel, unites scattered tribes into a power. His phalanx wielding sarissas, spears longer than a modern selfie stick, that pierce the sky. You step into Pela's palace, torchlight flickering on rough stone walls, the warm scent of cedar smoke curling around you. It's 356 BCE, and a storm rages outside, thunder rolling as if Zeus himself heralds a birth. A baby's cry cuts through the night. Alexander, son of Philip and Olympias, enters the world. Olympias, a mystic queen with Achilles' blood, sways in moonlit rites, her eyes like embers whispering of snakes and gods. She claims Zeus touched her in a dream, lightning marking her son as divine. No ultrasound to confirm it, just prophecies that spark like wildfire. Your heart races with the storm's electric pulse, sensing destiny's weight. That same night, the temple of Artemis in Ephesus, one of the world's wonders, burns, flames leaping like a divine signal, the air heavy with the scent of charred wood. Legends whisper it's an omen of Alexander's fiery path, a king born to reshape the world. In his cradle, swaddled in linen soft as a summer breeze, he grips a tiny fist, as if clutching glory itself. Raising a child with such omens? Like parenting with a prophecy app that only predicts greatness. Olympias' tales of Achilles and Philip's lessons in war weave a tapestry of ambition around him, each thread a promise of immortality. As a boy, you see Alexander in Pela's torchlit halls, the scent of aged papyrus and wax lingering as he pores over Homer's Iliad. His fingers trace Achilles' battles, eyes alight with dreams of eternal fame. Winds whistle through cracks, carrying the chill of Macedonian nights as he vows to outshine the stars. No Netflix to binge, just epic poems fueling a heart that refuses mediocrity. He learns to ride before walking, his small frame wielding a spear like a toy, hooves thundering in dusty training yards. Leading mock battles at 10? Like running a startup with no Wi-Fi and a dream. You stand in Pela's sun-drenched square, dust swirling underfoot, the sharp scent of leather and horse sweat thick in the air. Bucephalus, a black stallion wild as a storm, rears, hooves pounding like war drums, scattering seasoned warriors. But Alexander, barely 12, steps forward, his gaze steady as stone. He sees what others miss. The horse fears its own shadow. Gently, he turns it from the sun, stroking its flank, the crowd's murmurs fading to silence. Mounting the beast, he rides, dust swirling, your heart pounding with the rhythm of hooves. Taming that chaos, like debugging a crashed app with no manual. Philip, watching, reportedly says, "Macedonia is too small for you," a phrase, though possibly legend, that echoes Alexander's boundless spirit. This moment reveals his genius, not brute force, but insight, a mind sharp as a sarissa's tip. You imagine galloping beside him through Macedonia's valleys, wind whipping through hair, the earthy scent of pine and sweat invigorating. Boy and horse become one, a bond forged in trust foreshadowing victories from Granicus to Hydaspes. His ambition burns brighter, standing on hilltops, the scent of wild thyme drifting, whispering to Bucephalus of lands beyond the horizon. Nothing impossible to him who tries, he believes, a creed that will shatter empires. Conquering fears like that? Like hitting send on a risky DM and nailing it. Yet, his fire has shadows. You feel the tension in Pela's banquet halls, the tangy scent of wine and roasted meat heavy, as Alexander clashes with Philip. At a wedding feast, when Philip's new bride stirs insults toward Olympias, Alexander hurls a goblet, its crash echoing, and storms out, fury blazing. No family group chat to cool tempers, just royal pride sparking like flint. This impulsiveness, raw and unbridled, shows a heart both fierce and fragile, sensitive to honor yet quick to ignite. A trait that fuels his greatness but hints at future tragedy. In quieter moments, you linger by a flickering hearth, the soothing crackle of embers blending with the scent of wood smoke. Alexander sits, Iliad open, its pages rustling softly, his eyes tracing Achilles' doomed glory. He fears oblivion, a mortal dread that drives his divine dreams, a conflict that shapes his soul. His intelligence shines, observing the world like an eagle, solving problems with a clarity that awes even elders. No Google to fact-check his instincts, just a mind that sees beyond the horizon. Sources like Plutarch blend fact and myth, but they paint a boy whose spirit could eclipse the gods. You pause in Pela's fading light, stars twinkling above, the gentle hum of night insects soothing as the scent of pine softens into the breeze. Alexander's early years forge a legend. Born under omens, raised on epic tales, tempered by a land of warriors, his greatness a flame kindled by divine whispers and mortal will. His courage, sharp as a blade, would carve empires, though wine's subtle poison waits in the shadows. Be grateful your dreams don't demand toppling kingdoms, just cozy nights free of ancient prophecies. Let Macedonia's whispers guide you to sleep, where a boy's ambition sparks a fire that will burn through history. As the whispers of Pella fade into the night, carrying echoes of a boy's divine dreams and untamed spirit, what hidden fires of knowledge and friendship might ignite to propel him toward an empire that spans horizons? You settle under the shady olive trees of Mieza, the gentle rustle of leaves mingling with the trickle of a nearby stream, sunlight dappled on ancient scrolls unfurled before you. Bird song floats softly in the air, and the earthy scent of moss-covered stones grounds you in this serene grove. No endless notifications pinging your peace, just the timeless flow of wisdom from master to pupil. Imagine debating the stars with a philosopher, tougher than arguing online without an edit button. In these tranquil lessons, Alexander's mind awakens, blending intellect with ambition to forge a leader whose greatness would echo through ages. Be thankful your education comes with comfy chairs and search engines, not hikes through Macedonian woods, as we immerse in his formative years. You breathe in the fresh, verdant air of Mieza around 343 BCE, where at 13 Alexander is entrusted by Philip II to Aristotle, the brilliant thinker from Stagira and Plato's former student. This outdoor sanctuary, nestled among gardens and caves, offers no grand halls, but a haven of olive shade and sparkling brooks, echoes of lectures bouncing off stone. Plutarch recounts how Aristotle imparts philosophy, medicine, astronomy, igniting curiosity about distant worlds, strategic thinking, and uncharted realms. Your mind wanders with young Alexander, absorbing lessons on logic, ethics, politics, tools for ruling with wisdom over brute force. Envisioning a unified empire? Like merging social platforms without losing followers. Aristotle shapes Alexander's worldview, urging him to see non-Greeks not merely as foes, but as potential allies in a blended realm, a vision that later defines his cultural fusions. His passion for natural sciences blooms. During Macedonian hunts, Alexander collects eagle feathers and exotic leaves, dispatching them to Aristotle for study, revealing an explorer's heart amid warrior training. Gathering specimens like that, like curating a Pinterest board with no Wi-Fi, but sparking scientific wonders. You feel the thrill of discovery, hands brushing foliage, the scent of fresh earth clinging as he pursues knowledge beyond battles. Companionship deepens his journey. Hephaestion, a childhood confidant and Mieza classmate, becomes his unbreakable bond, likened by Alexander to Patroclus beside Achilles in the Iliad. Sources note Hephaestion as soulmate and steadfast ally, echoing from Hydaspes fields to Gedrosian sands. Hephaestion is part of my soul, he reportedly declares, a rare intimacy transcending power's isolation. Sharing dreams under Mieza's canopy, like having a bestie who vibes with your wildest plans, no ghosting involved. Your heart warms at their laughter by the stream, united in conquest visions. Mieza's teachings transcend theory. Aristotle hones strategic acumen, teaching to exploit weaknesses and turn adversity to advantage, skills gleaming in Granicus and Gaugamela clashes. Legend holds Aristotle advising, a great king conquers not just land, but hearts, though unverified. It mirrors his influence in crafting a visionary ruler surpassing Achilles. No life coaches with apps, just profound dialogues shaping a curious, tactical soul hungry for more than glory. Be glad your strategies involve planners, not plotting empires from cave classrooms. You linger under Mieza's fading light, scrolls whispering secrets, Hephaestion's presence a steady anchor beside Alexander's eager gaze. As sunlight dims and birdsong softens, let slumber carry us to the depths of his character, where inner flames roar eternally. You ascend a sun-kissed hill in Pella, golden light spilling over grass, a young Alexander murmuring of unknown empires, Macedonian winds bearing hoarse whinnies and prophetic hints. The fresh breeze carries wildflower scents, grounding you in his world of divine pride and human fragility. No therapy sessions for royal egos, just self-reflection under open skies. Picture claiming godly descent, like posting a glow-up with mythical filters. Here, Alexander's charisma captivates, His arrogance fuels legends, underscoring a man godlike yet mortal. Be thankful your confidence boosts don't require Zeus's endorsement, avoiding ancient family drama as we delve into his soul's blaze. From youth, Alexander exudes rare allure, drawing warriors and sages alike, as Plutarch describes, from Macedonian ranks to Greek thinkers. Yet beneath lies fierce pride, convinced of Zeus's lineage, sown by Olympias through tales of thunderous dreams and godly selection. She, devout and superstitious, instills he's chosen to guide the world. A belief, perhaps legendary, firing his immortal ambition to etch eternity. Moonlit Pella nights find him stargazing, whispering, "The world won't forget me," vowing against ordinariness. Claiming divine status, like going viral as a demigod without the backlash. Boldness shines in taming Bucephalus at 12 per Plutarch. In Pella's glaring square, the fierce black steed terrifies all, but Alexander spots its shadow fear, gently redirecting, mounting triumphantly. The crowd hushes, fate speaking. Philip allegedly exclaims, "Macedonia's too small for you," unconfirmed yet resonant of his extraordinary courage and wit. Under radiant sun he rides, winds singing destiny's hymn. Handling that? Like negotiating a bad date with charm and insight. His audacity pairs with innate leadership, famed in "I'm not afraid of lion armies led by sheep, but sheep led by lions," later chronicled, highlighting exceptional command's power, evident early. Yet arrogance and impulsiveness shadow. Plutarch notes fierce quarrels with Philip at his 337 BCE wedding to Eurydice, defending Olympias' honor by hurling a goblet, fleeing in fury, exiled briefly to Pyrrhus. Banquet lights flicker, wine sharp, goblet shattering as court gasps, a youth proud yet vulnerable, challenging paternal might. Family feuds like that? Like holiday dinners gone viral, but with thrones at stake. Be glad yours resolve with apologies, not exile. A charming anecdote from Plutarch and Diogenes Laertius. In Corinth's blaze, powerful Alexander approaches ascetic Diogenes in his barrel. "I can grant anything," he offers, eyes ambitious. Diogenes retorts, "Step out of my sun." Alexander smiles, unangered. "If not Alexander, I'd be Diogenes." Though possibly apocryphal, it highlights his openness, valuing opposing wisdom despite Zeus-like self-view. Encountering that, like a CEO humbled by a minimalist TikTok. Behind charisma and pride lies inner turmoil, eternal fame's craving haunted by oblivion's fear. Gazing stars, he ponders outshining Achilles or Hercules, a blaze fearing extinction. His uniqueness lies in confronting this, flame-devouring worlds yet dreading fade. You stand with Alexander on Pella's hill, Bucephalus loyal, or grinning at Diogenes under Corinth's sun. As light wanes, winds bearing grand dreams, slumber beckons to battlefields where he inscribes history. You position on Chaeronia's plain, dust rising under hooves, spear clashes thundering like war's anthem. A 16-year-old's fiery eyes lead cavalry into fray. The metallic tang of blood mixes with sweat-soaked earth, immersing you in his youthful blaze. No VR for epic fights, just raw valor's pulse. Envision charging at 16, like leading a raid in a game with real stakes. These pivotal moments unveil Alexander's brilliance amid mysteries, humanizing a giant whose deeds amplify his legend. Be thankful your teen years involved homework, not reshaping maps, as we trace his ascent. Alexander's youth ignites spectacularly at 16 in Chaeronia, 338 BCE, Macedonia versus Athens-Thebes alliance sealing Greece's fate. Diodorus Siculus details Philip entrusting him companion cavalry command, shattering Thebes' invincible sacred band. Blinding sun on plain, astride Bucephalus, he orchestrates phalanx cavalry dance, tearing lines, blood-staining grass. World's first glimpse of his name, a youth terrifying Greece. Coordinating that, like directing a blockbuster with no reshoots. Glory veils tensions with Philip, strategic genius wedding multiple wives, threatening Alexander and Olympias' status. Ambitious, superstitious Olympias sows discord, believing him Zeus's heir. Strains peak at Philip's 337 BCE Eurydice wedding. Insult to Olympias sparks Alexander's goblet hurl, confronting father, temporary Epirus exile. Dim banquet lights, shouts echoing. A sensitive, impulsive prince guarding honor. Royal rifts, like reality TV feuds but deciding dynasties. Be glad your arguments don't rewrite history books. Then, 336 BCE's dark enigma. Philip's assassination at Aegae feast, dagger piercing amid lights and music. Pausanias the guard strikes, motives shrouded. Unverified rumors implicate Olympia's hatred, perhaps Alexander's foreknowledge without intervention. Torches flicker, blood pooling on stone, Olympia's shadows, eyes serpentine, or mere gossip. At 20, Alexander ascends, quelling doubts with force, fate anointing him Macedonia's king, path to world conquest open. Ascending amid suspicion, like inheriting a company post-scandal, no HR involved. These, Charonia's triumph, wedding storm, assassination mystery, mold him. Prodigious talent laced with conflicts, arrogant yet wounded by family. Legend has him post-Philip on Pella Hill, stargazing. Now I etch my name in stars, unverified yet capturing ambition's blaze, ready to scorch earth. You witness Alexander on Charonia astride Bucephalus, or shadowed post-Philip. As torches dim, hooves echo distant, rest invites to grand campaigns scripting his myth. You stand in Pella's palace, torchlight dancing on Macedonian throne, a 20-year-old ascending, eyes aflame as if heavens await. Winds whisper through halls, carrying ambition's scent. No coronation live streams, just destiny's weight. Picture claiming kingship young, like launching a startup that conquers markets. This pinnacle crowns his youth, ambition incarnate, poised for undreamed realms. Be thankful your milestones don't involve quelling rebellions, just celebrations sans swords as his flame engulfs history. Ascending 336 BCE at 20, Alexander embodies undying ambition. Arrian and Plutarch depicting him before generals, armor gleaming. I'll lead you to horizons gods unseen. Possibly apocryphal, it mirrors his boundary-shattering drive from Pella Hills to Persian and Indian expanses. Palace shadows, throne touch like fate's embrace. World will know my name, prophecy of history's shifter. Throne brings burdens, post-Philip suspicions, tribal murmurs, court plots, Eastern Persian loom. Yet fear finds no harbor. Legend has him balcony staring with Bucephalus. This world's insufficient, unverified yet portraying endless craving for land and eternal inscription. You behold Alexander throned, eyes burning, sword at side. As torches fade, night winds dream-laden, rest for his realm expands beyond imagination. Slumber ushers to battlefields, authoring his legend. As the throne's glow dims in Pella's halls, whispering of a young king's unyielding will, what storms of rebellion and bold strokes might he unleash to forge an empire from chaos and doubt? You stand within Pella's palace, gentle rain pattering like fate's melody against stone, torchlight flickering in drafts heavy with wax and intrigue. The air carries a chill, shadows dancing on walls etched with royal legacies. No binge-watching to unwind after a coup, just the weight of a crown at 20. Envision ascending amid whispers, like inheriting a viral account with trolls lurking. In these turbulent ascents, Alexander's resolve blazes, quelling uprisings with iron and eloquence, his greatness a beacon through turmoil. Be thankful your power struggles involve office politics, not literal thrones and executions, as we ease into his reign's fiery dawn. You sense the palace's tension in 336 BCE, Alexander claiming Macedonia's throne at 20 post-Philip's shadowy assassination. Arrian and Plutarch depict Pella in upheaval, suspicious gazes from generals, nobles, tribes. With golden hair and blazing eyes, he asserts unchallenged, yet the throne pulses with plots. Rain murmurs outside as if whispering, power shares with none, his gaze holding regrets flicker, or mere flames reflection. Swiftly consolidating, Alexander eliminates threats ruthlessly. Histories note executions of potential rivals, including Attalus, a general defying him and insulting Olympias slain in shadows. Reportedly declaring, power isn't shared, though possibly unverified legend, it underscores his decisive, blood-willing stance. Dark corridors echo steel's gleam, Attalus vanishing. Alexander stands alone, eyes cold yet stirred, perhaps rain's glint masking turmoil. Purging like that? Like cleaning a messy inbox with permanent deletes, but stakes life or death. Challenges peak in 335 BCE, with Thebes rebelling against Macedonian dominance. At 21, Alexander storms with 30,000 troops, besieging the mighty city-state. Diodorus Siculus details his command to raise it as warning, a bloody lesson. 6,000 slain, 30,000 enslaved, Thebes flattened, save smoke pillars. Gloomy skies over ruins, winds bearing smoke and cries. He murmurs, as if to self, Greece won't forget, heart perhaps pricked, or rain veiling emotion. Sparing poet Pindar's home gestures mercy amid cruelty, highlighting his layered character. Leveling a city, like nuking a rival server in a game, but real lives hang in balance. Be glad your conflicts resolve with emails, not enslavement auctions. Ruthlessness pairs with political genius. Post-Thebes, he convenes League of Corinth, Philip's Greek alliance. Histories show his eloquence swaying city-states from foes to allies, uniting not just by sword, but speech. Eyes sharp, voice magnetic, he transforms skeptics, anecdotally proclaiming before leaders, "Together, we'll conquer the world." Though potentially unconfirmed lore, it captures his inspirational prowess, rallying armies and peoples to world's end. At Corinth, voice thundering like storm, eyes afire, he's dream guide, convincing Greece they can claim stars. Rallying like that? Like hyping a crowdfunding campaign to moonshot levels. Alexander's early rule symphonies blood, fire, oratory, quashing revolts with brutality, forging bonds with intellect. Each move, Attilus's end to Thebes's fall, paints a calculated, arrogant youth. Legend has him on Thebes's crumbled walls, eastward gazing. Persia awaits. Though possibly fabricated tale, it hints ambition's inferno, poised to consume barriers. You remain amid Thebes's ruins, Alexander eastward-eyed, rain softening gently. As Pella torches dim winds dream-bearing rest, for his conquests beckon distant horizons. You perch on Hellespont's shore, Mediterranean waves lapping softly, mingling with hoofbeats and a young king's murmurs. Sea breeze carries salt and anticipation, his eyes scorching horizons. No vacation selfies from epic crossings, just brink of destiny. Imagine blending mercy with menace, like moderating a forum with bans and badges. Here, Alexander's actions and thoughts weave compassion's threads with cruelty's steel. Haunted by fade's fear, his audacity defying limits. Be thankful your fears involve forgotten passwords, not eternal obscurity, avoiding ancient knots of fate as we probe his daring flame. Alexander transcends warrior, a leader melding mercy and severity, reason and desire. Arrian and Plutarch note calculated kindness. Submitting states like Athens, Corinth receive clemency, as sparing Pindar's Theban home post-raising. Yet rebels face unrelenting. Thebes 335 BCE exemplifies. 6,000 dead, 30,000 enslaved, city dust. Gloomy Theban skies, eyes cool yet not soulless. He spares kneelers but crushes challengers. No room for rebellion in my realm. This mercy isn't pure pity but political blade, turning adversaries to partners, laying East-West harmony's foundation. Balancing like that? Like managing a team with carrots and sticks, but stakes imperial. His soul harbors deep dread. Oblivion's specter. Plutarch's anecdotes show stargazing, questioning inscription like Achilles, Hercules. This terror doesn't halt, but propels beyond bounds. 334 BCE, 40,000 troops, Macedonian phalanx, companion cavalry, Greek allies, cross Hellespont, Europe-Asia divide, challenging mighty Persia. Histories depict him shipbow, hurling spear to Asian soil, this land's mine. Though possibly embellished tale, it portrays grand vision. Not mere Persian conquest, but cultural blend, empire fusing traditions. Dawn on Hellespont, winds tussling golden hair, he eyes east as if grasping world. Waves whisper time's urgency, vowing history's mark. Fearing forgetfulness, like obsessing over legacy posts in a digital void. A defining moment, slicing Gordian knot, 333 BCE in Phrygia. Arrian recounts legendary untieable knot, prophesying Asia's ruler for solver. Alexander draws sword, severs it, reportedly stating, "Nothing impossible to him who tries." Though potentially unverified legend, it embodies boundary-breaking mindset, simplifying complexities effectively. Ancient Phrygian temple, sunlight-piercing stone, crowd breaths held for intricate unravels. He smiles, sword slashing, steel rings like declaration, "I don't play by others' rules." World realizes he's redefiner of limits. Untangling that? Like skipping a puzzle level with a cheat code, but mythically epic. Be glad your knots are shoelaces, not prophetic enigmas. Alexander's behaviors, thoughts, symphony contradictions, merciful yet merciless, bold yet fame-haunted. Forgiving to build, bloodied to warn, dreaming East-West unity, yet driven by erasure's terror into ceaseless campaigns. Anecdote has him Hellespont shore, Persia ward, I'll make the world remember forever. Though possibly invented whisper, it mirrors ambition's blaze, incinerating obstacles for undying glory. You stay with Alexander on Hellespont vessel or Phrygian sun-slashed knot. As waves fade, steel glints dreamily, rest for his conquests summon grander fields where legends inscribe. You position by Granicus River, sunset reddening waters, hoof echoes blending with winds, battle dust scenting air. Metallic glint of arms surrounds a king, astride Bucephalus, eyes aflame, ready to plunge enemy heart. No war simulations on screens, just visceral clashes rush. Picture-defying advice for glory, like ignoring GPS for a shortcut thrill. This inaugural campaign showcases Alexander's mastery, opening world conquest paths, his legend amplified in strategies forge. Be thankful your risks involve bold emails, not river fords under arrows, evading ancient near-misses as we flow into his tactical blaze. 334 BCE post-Hellespont, Alexander marches 40,000 Macedonian phalanx, companion cavalry, Greek allies, into Asia Minor, commencing Persian Empire assault. Arrian, Plutarch detail Granicus confrontation, 20,000 Persian cavalry, Greek mercenaries under Memnon, Spithridates. Steep banks, swift currents, Persians high-grounded, poised with arrows charges. Sunset crimson river, Bucephalus neighing, he eyes foes, steel gleaming challenge. But his gaze holds no fear, only conquerors fire, his tactics boldly defy. Veteran Parmenion urges dawn wait for safe crossing, citing depths, terrain edge. At 22, arrogant confidence surges, he rejects, deeming delay Macedonian shame, ordering immediate assault despite perils. Armor aglow in dying light, spear raised, he commands companion charge through waters. Splashes erupt, horses cry, steel clashes symphonically. He doesn't wait, creates opportunity. Ignoring counsel? Like overriding autopilot in a storm, trusting gut over data. Battle rages fiercely. Granicus's natural barrier, deep flows, steep shores, disrupts Macedonian phalanx. Persians rain arrows from heights, cavalry ferocious. Arrian notes near death. Nobles Spithridates Rosaces attack. Blade aims headward, but loyal Clytus the Black intervenes, swift sword saving him. Chaos core, Bucephalus charges Persian commanders, morale shattering. Blade raised, death breaths away, Clytus shadows, slash rescuing. Fate's instant, loyalty and daring entwine. Mastery turns tide. Companion flank disrupts Persian center. Chaos ensues. Phalanx rears unbreakable steel wall. History's tally: Persian 1,000 to 2,500 fallen. Macedonian mere 100 to 120 cavalry. Riverbanks, phalanx mountain steady. Cavalry wind swift. He conducts deadly orchestra. River enemy grave. Sunsets field windswept. Foe corpses silent. Granicus yields not mere win but pivot, seizing much Asia Minor, paving Issus, Gaugamela. Yet calculated cruelty, surrendering Greek mercenaries massacred or enslaved as deterrent. Spoils sent Greeceward, messaged as vengeance for past invasions. Anecdote places him battlefield eastward. This is just beginning. Though potentially unconfirmed murmur, it echoes vast dream, empire from Greece to India. Granicus testifies his prowess, speed, surprise, audacity defining command. Yet complexity, generous spoils to Greece, merciless to traitors. Clytus, lifesaver, symbolizes fidelity, reminding glory's perils. You witness Alexander on Granicus' shore, astride Bucephalus, eastward eyes, blood-tinting river. As twilight fades, river whispers distant, rest, for his conquests call vaster fields. As the Granicus river's crimson tide fades into twilight's hush, whispering of a king's audacity, what daring stroke might he wield to slice through fate itself, redefining destiny's knots? You stand within Gordium's ancient temple, sunlight streaming through stone crevices, illuminating a tangled knot that binds a king's chariot, a puzzle woven by gods. The air carries dust and sacred incense, the faint hum of desert winds weaving through Phrygia's heart. No cryptic apps to crack life's riddles, just raw will facing prophecy. Imagine slashing through impossibility, like bypassing a captcha with a single click. In this iconic moment, Alexander's blade carves legend, his greatness defying fate's constraints. Be thankful your challenges involve untangling earbuds, not divine enigmas, as we drift into his mythic act. In 333 BCE, traversing Asia Minor, Alexander arrives in Gordium, Phrygia's ancient capital. Arrian and Plutarch recount the Gordian knot, tied to King Gordius's chariot, entwined with prophecy. Its unraveler rules Asia. This labyrinthine cord, baffling all, stands as divine challenge. Under golden temple rays, Alexander faces it, crowd breathless. The knot, fate's riddle, dares intellect, but he, grinning confidently, plays no other's game. Solving that, like cracking a password by resetting the system. Rather than unravel its chaos, Alexander's signature boldness shines. Histories note him drawing his gleaming sword, severing the knot with one decisive slash. Steel rings like destiny's proclamation, crowd erupting in awe. Anecdotally, he declares, nothing impossible to him who tries, though possibly unverified lore. In that instant, blade flashing, the knot falls as if fate anoints him. One cut severs not just rope but human limits. Whispers ripple like Zeus's thunder, crowning him Asia's chosen. Slicing like that, like swiping away a problem with zero regrets. This isn't mere triumph, but pragmatic genius. Instead of entangling in complexity, he opts for simple, effective resolution, embodying boundary-breaking thought. Histories say this act spreads across Asia Minor, cementing his fame as a daring leader defying tradition. In Gordium's temple, eyes ablaze, he doesn't just solve, he redefines fate's rules, signaling worlds reshaped. Be glad your bold moves don't rewrite prophecies, just group chats. Yet behind the blade lies audacious vision. Anecdote has him, post-cut, stargazing outside, whispering, "Asia is mine." Though potentially fabricated, it echoes his immortal ambition, not mere conquest but eternal inscription. Slicing the knot symbolizes his leadership, bold, resolute, undaunted. It foreshadows an empire blending east and west, transcending Macedonia's king to world's unifier. You linger in Gordium, Alexander's sword raised, not sundered at his feet. As Phrygian sun dims, desert winds dream-laden, rest, for his conquests beckon vaster fields where legends grow. You stand atop an Asia Minor hill, golden sunlight bathing Sardis's ancient columns, winds whispering new eras through Anatolia's stones. The scent of olive groves and sea salt drifts, mingling with distant city hums. No urban sprawls buzz, just culture's dawn. Picture sowing unity across empires, like curating a playlist that vibes globally. Here, Alexander's policies plant Hellenism's seeds, his greatness weaving Greek and Eastern threads. Be thankful your influence spreads via likes, not legions, avoiding ancient revolts as we explore his cultural forge. Post-Granicus, 334 BCE, Alexander seizes much of Asia Minor, crafting empire beyond military might. Arrian and Diodorus Siculus detail his savvy governance, blending leniency with control. Rather than imposing Macedonian overseers, he retains local rulers under loyal generals' watch, freeing Greek city-states from Persian yoke, restoring autonomy beneath his piercing gaze. In Sardis, Ephesus, Miletus, he's liberator, welcomed with flowers, cheers. Locals govern, yet his shadow looms. Cities whisper Greek, Hellenism's breeze sweeping Anatolia. Governing like that, like running a startup with local flair, but ironclad branding. His policy isn't mere kindness, but strategic vision, birthing East-West harmony. Histories note he fosters Greek culture, democratic institutions, theaters, schools, while preserving local customs. Lyres blend with native songs under Ephesus columns. He brings Aristotle's philosophy, Homer's poetry, unity's ideal. On Sardis walls, eastward eyes, he envisions empire merging traditions. Planting culture? Like dropping a viral trend that reshapes global feeds. Yet leniency pairs calculated ruthlessness. Defiant cities, Miletus initially, Halicarnassus, face relentless assault. Histories record raised walls, punished leaders, signaling submission's necessity. Anecdotally, he tells generals, "I conquer with loyalty, hold with fear," though possibly unconfirmed. At Halicarnassus, walls crumble under Macedonian fire. He stands silent, eyes cool yet not cold, sparing mealers, storm to resistors. Balancing mercy and menace? Like managing a team with bonuses and deadlines, but with sieges. Be glad your rebellions are office gossip, not city-sacking ultimatums. His Asia Minor policies cement power, lay Hellenism's foundation, spreading from Anatolia to Persia, India. Not just conqueror, he's sower of an age where Greek culture fuses east. Legend has him on Ionia's shore, Mediterranean ward. This world bears my mark. Though possibly invented, it paints his vision. Empire vast in land, profound in culture. You stand with Alexander on Sardis walls, eastward gaze, Hellenism's breath in winds. As Anatolian sun fades, city whispers distant, rest, for his conquests call grander dreams. You tread Siwa's golden dunes, scorching sun blazing, winds hissing through endless sands, dry heat and dust scenting air. Amid thirst, an emerald oasis blooms, palms rustling, incense wafting from Ammon's temple. In 332 BCE, Alexander, Macedonian king, crosses this harsh desert seeking destiny's truth. No GPS for divine quests, just faith's pull. Picture seeking cosmic answers, like Googling your purpose with 0 bars. This pilgrimage unveils his spiritual depth, amplifying greatness through divine whispers. Be thankful your soul-searching needs journals, not desert treks, evading ancient oracles, as we trace his sacred path. Post-Memphis conquest, welcomed as Egypt's savior, Alexander hears of Siwa's Ammon temple, where oracles commune with gods. Arrian, Plutarch note his drive. Not curiosity alone, but belief. Siwa confirms his extraordinary fate. The 300-mile desert challenges. Sandstorms threaten to swallow armies, water rarer than Wi-Fi in the wild. Exhausted troops falter, yet he presses on. Generals like Parmenion warn of risks, urging Egypt's consolidation. Majesty, your greatness needs no oracle, they might plead. But his ambition-lit eyes dismiss caution. God's call, unstoppable. Navigating like that, like road-tripping blindfolded, trusting vibes over maps. Plutarch's legends weave divine aid. Lost in sands, two ravens guide, or Zeus's rain quenches thirst. Though possibly embellished tales, they halo his journey. Siwa reached, exhausted but resolute, he approaches Amon's temple. Ancient columns mossy, palm whispers mingling with ritual smoke. Alone, armor sand-dusted, he kneels before Amon. Ram-horned god Egyptians revere, Greeks equate with Zeus. Histories say the oracle, post-ritual, delivers a secret prophecy Alexander never reveals. Plutarch's popular anecdote claims the priest hails him Zeus's son, not Macedonian king, perhaps truth or Egyptian custom honoring pharaohs as divine. He embraces it, seeing himself godlike, destined for world dominion. Divine title, like getting verified as a deity on socials. Scholars debate, was the oracle exaggerated by Alexander or later chroniclers to deify him? Egyptians routinely called rulers God's sons, yet for fame-hungry Alexander, Siwa marks a pivot. No longer Philip's heir, he's transcendent, tasked with East-West unity. Siwa's prophecy catalyzes shifts. Callisthenes notes post-Siwa, he adopts Persian customs, demanding proskynesis, kneeling reverence Macedonians scorn as godly, sparking tensions with loyalists like Cletus. His duality shines, Aristotle's rational pupil, yet Achilles' dreaming mystic. Siwa fuels belief he's chosen, deepening pride, fame obsession, questioning limits as Zeus's son, like coding an app with infinite scalability. Siwa shapes governance, he founds Alexandria, Egypt, a Greek-Egyptian fusion symbol. Prophecy drives his unified empire vision, yet sows discord with Macedonians alienated by his divine heirs. You stand beside him, Siwa's oasis cooling, eyes alight post-oracle, seeing world's future. Winds whisper ambition's cost, a mortal heart chasing godhood. You linger at Siwa, Alexander exiting Amon's temple, gaze radiant. As dunes fade, palm whispers distant, rest for his conquests summon vaster realms. You stand amid Persepolis' grandeur, torches flickering on towering columns, laughter and wine's tang mingling with smoke's acrid bite. In 330 BCE, post-Darius III's defeat, Alexander enters Persia's opulent heart, gold-laden palaces gleaming. No party apps for epic feasts, just raw revelry's pulse. Picture torching a legacy, like deleting a viral post in a drunken haze. This fiery act reveals Alexander's genius and flaws, his greatness shadowed by impulse. Be thankful your wild nights involve bad karaoke, not burning empires, avoiding ancient regrets, as we delve into his conflicted blaze. Persepolis, Achaemenid splendor, falls to Alexander. Arrian, Diodorus Siculus describe its wealth, yet one drunken night he orders it torched. Anecdote pins Thais, his lover, urging fire as Greek vengeance for past Persian ravages, though possibly unverified lore. Moonlit, music and wine flood, torch in hand he ignites, flames devouring Persian glory. Fire roars, yet part of his soul chars, a nightmare amid conquest's dream. Torching like that, like rage quitting a game, but it's a civilization's legacy. This act embodies his paradox. History's note regret, ordering flames doused too late, palace ash. Some argue calculated revenge to solidify Greek loyalty. Others, via anecdote, see drunken impulse overriding strategic genius. Flames consuming Persepolis, eyes flicker regret and pride. A voice whispers, "Have I gone too far?" A war god facing mortal fragility. Impulse over mastery, like tweeting without proofreading, but with eternal stakes. Persepolis' fall signals, no empire is untouchable. Yet it questions, vengeance or lapse. Anecdote has him amid ashes saying, "I conquered Persia not to destroy it, though possibly fabricated." It mirrors his conflict, dreaming east-west harmony, yet swept by rash choices. Under Asia's night, eyes fire bright, he gazes to farther horizons, vowing per legend, "I won't stop." Unverified yet echoing unquenchable ambition. You stand with Alexander, Persepolis embers glowing, ambition unyielding. As flames fade, desert winds dream heavy, rest, for his legend writes on in grander battles. As the embers of Persepolis fade into the desert night, whispering of a king's fiery impulses, what relentless pursuit might drive him to chase a rival monarch across mountains and seas, forging destiny in the crucible of war. You tread the dusty trails of Asia Minor, sunlight scorching the Cilician hills, the air thick with earth and sweat. hoofbeats mingling with desert winds. No GPS for empire-building treks, just a young king's burning gaze. Picture chasing destiny across rugged lands, like speed-running a global quest with no save points. In this relentless march, Alexander's ambition blazes, carving paths to a fated clash. Be thankful your pursuits involve coffee runs, not desert campaigns, as we follow his chase toward Issus. Post-Granicus 334 BCE, Alexander, undeterred by glory, drives 40,000 Macedonian phalanx, companion cavalry, Greek allies south through Asia Minor, freeing cities like Ephesus, Miletus from Persian rule. Arrian details a year-long march over Cilicia's brutal terrain, battling water scarcity, disease, ambush risks. Under blazing sun, astride Bucephalus, he shares soldiers' last drops, feet bloodied yet eyes unwavering. Winds whisper through hills, echoing his grand dream. Sharing water like that? Like splitting the last Wi-Fi bar with your team. He seeds Alexandrias, like one near Issus, as cultural military hubs, using local intelligence to dodge Persian traps, relentlessly hunting remnants. Anecdote has him in Cilicia's chill night telling generals each step sketches the world's map, though possibly unverified lore, reflecting his vision of empire from Greece to east. Moonlit hills, campfires flickering, he points south, sea glinting. We conquer not just land, but time. Cities rise like torches, lighting his path. Founding cities, like dropping viral content to claim digital turf. Autumn 333 BCE brings peril. Darius III, Persian king of kings, leads 100,000 double Alexander's force through Amanus Pass, cutting his rear at Ish's plain, pinched between mountains and sea. Arrian, Diodorus Siculus, note Alexander, southbound, receiving news, pivoting north through Syrian gate by night. Exhausted troops trudge, yet his fervent words ignite them. Under starless skies, torches guide. Winds howl through cliffs, his voice thunders. Victory awaits where sea and mountain witness greatness. Soldiers weary, march fueled by faith in their war god. Night marches, like crunching a deadline with no sleep, powered by sheer will. This chase, through harsh terrain, disease, overwhelming odds, tests Alexander. Yet with speed, intelligence, unyielding spirit, he turns hardship into opportunity, setting the stage for Issus's fated clash. A soldier whispers, per legend, on Issus's shore, gazing at Persian hordes. Darius will know his name. Though possibly fabricated, it mirrors his blazing ambition to face the king of kings, scripting empire's next chapter. You stand with Alexander on Issus's shore, eyes afire, waves lapping. As Cilician moonlight fades, hooves echo distant, dream of Issus's epic clash where his legend grows. You position on Issus's plain, Mediterranean waves crashing against cliffs, winds carrying war's breath. The air hums with dust and steel's tang, dawn's mist veiling a young king's fiery gaze. No war games for stakes this high, just fate's crucible. Imagine defying odds, like betting all in on a wild card. Here Alexander turns traps into triumphs, his greatness forged in battle's fire. Be thankful your risks involve bold tweets, not life or death gambits, as we witness his Issus stand. 333 BCE, Issus, Alexander faces his greatest test. Arrian, Diodorus Siculus described Darius III's 100,000. Double Alexander's 40,000, holding high ground by Panaris River, outnumbering in a narrow valley between mountain and sea. Persians, dense with cavalry, immortals, poised to crush Macedonians. Under misty dawn, Alexander surveys the human sea across Panaris, Issus's trap tightening. Yet his eyes blaze, a chess master ready to flip fate's board. Facing that, like tackling a server crash with half the team. His command shines. Despite Parmenian's plea to wait, citing exhaustion, terrain, Alexander leverages the narrow plain to negate Persian numbers. He leads 1,800 companion cavalry straight at Darius's center, thinly guarded by horsemen. At Pinaris, astride Bucephalus, he charges like steel whirlwind, tearing Persian core. Phalanx with 5-meter sarissas holds like an anvil. His cavalry, the hammer, smashes Darius's resolve. Darius flees, abandoning standard cloak. Persians collapse in panic. Coordinating that? Like orchestrating a live stream with no lag. Tactics orchestrate perfection. Phalanx pins enemy, cavalry exploits weaknesses, shattering morale. Histories note Issus's dual victory, military and psychological. Darius's flight crumbling Persia's invincible aura. Dust settling, Alexander stands, armor bloodied, eyes unyielding, horizon in grasp. Issus's waves sing victory, yet whisper future trials. Be glad your battles don't hinge on outrunning arrows. His audacity glows in Plutarch's anecdote. Parmenion suggests accepting Darius's peace offer. Alexander retorts, "I'd take peace as Parmenion, but I'm Alexander. We fight for glory." Though possibly unverified, it brands him, uncompromising, glory-hungry. Before battle, under torches, his voice thunders, "I'm not Parmenion to choose peace. I'm Alexander, and we fight for glory." Soldiers roar, ready to storm death's edge, as if gods watch. Rejecting peace? Like declining a sponsorship for a passion project, but epic. Issues pivots his conquest, proving strategic genius, turning terrain's trap into triumph via speed, surprise, phalanx cavalry synergy. A soldier murmurs, per legend, post-battle eastward gazing, "This is but empire's dawn." Though possibly fabricated, it echoes his dream. An east-west empire from Greece to India. You stand with Alexander on Issus's plain, armor gleaming eastward eyes. As waves fade, moonlight dims, dream of grander battles where his name etches eternity. You sit in Issus's command tent, torchlight flickering on strained faces, night winds howling through cliffs, carrying war's chill. No strategy apps for life or death calls, just clashing wills. Picture debating a boss who bets all, like arguing a pivot with no fallback. Here, Parmenion's caution meets Alexander's daring, shaping greatness amid tension. Be thankful your disputes involve emails, not empire-defining risks as we delve into their clash. 333 BCE, Issus. Alexander faced Darius's 100,000, Macedonian 40,000 weary from Syrian gates march. Arrian details Parmenion, veteran advisor urging restraint, troops exhausted, Panaris deep, Persians high-grounded with cavalry, arrows. Rest, regroup, strike at dawn to minimize chaos, he pleads. Under dim torches, Parmenion's voice steadies. We're drained. Panaris treacherous. Darius waits above, wait majesty to save lives. Alexander, eyes aflame, smiles defiantly. Debating like that? Like convincing a startup founder to delay launch. Alexander rejects caution, trusting speed, surprise. Plutarch's anecdote has him reply, "We don't wait. Victory favors the bold," though possibly unverified. He sees Issus's narrowness, neutering Persian numbers, an immediate strike disrupting their ranks. Not arrogance, but faith and strategy. Night skies, spear raised, he declares, "Darius thinks he traps us. I'll make his trap our triumph." Soldiers roar, ignited by their war god. Betting all? Like launching a beta against advice, trusting vision. Parmenion's caution, pragmatic, battle-honed, clashes with Alexander's daring, where obstacles fuel greatness. Histories show him turning advice aside, leading companions through Panaris, shattering Darius's center, forcing flight. His charge at Darius proves he's no mere warrior, but a strategist staking all for glory. Bucephalus thunders, Parmenion's words drowned. He targets Darius, world narrowing to 2 kings. Each step screams, "I shape history." Be glad your bold moves don't risk annihilation. Their clash, pragmatism versus vision, defines Alexander. Parmenion seeks preservation. Alexander, immortality. Post-battle, a general whispers per legend eyeing Parmenion, "Your advice was gold, but I fight for forever." Though possibly fabricated, it captures his essence, turning restraint into fuel for greatness. You linger in Issus's tent, Alexander's gaze burning, winds whispering strategy. As torches fade, dream of grander clashes where his legend endures. You stand on Issus's plain, rain lashing, waves roaring, steels clash mingling with storms howl. Air reeks of blood, mud, a king's armor glistens, bloodied, facing a foe's sea under gray skies. No VR for such stakes, just survival's edge. Imagine fighting where retreat's impossible, like crunching a deadline with servers down. At Issus, terrain, odds, losses test Alexander's mettle, forging greatness in peril. Be thankful your trials involve late buses, not death's brink, as we brave his crucible. 333 BCE, Issus. Alexander faces near impossible odds. Arrian Diodorus Siculus detail the 2-3 kilometer plain, trapped between mountain, sea, Panaris's deep, steep banks aiding Darius's 100,000, cavalry, 10,000 immortals, against Alexander's 40,000. Rain-soaked post-Cilician march, Macedonians falter. Parmenion's left wing risks collapse under Persian cavalry. Crossing Panaris, arrows rain, early losses mount, hundreds fall. Mud disrupts 5-meter Sarissa phalanx. Cold rain, Issus's arena squeezes, Persian steel glints defiantly. Alexander on Bucephalus, eyes Darius, knowing each step gambles fate. Facing that, like coding under DDoS attack. Peril peaks, Parmenion's wing wavers, arrows pelt as Macedonians ford Panaris, cavalry assaults shredding ranks. Arrian notes Alexander charging center nearly falls to Persian blades, loyal generals save him. Soldiers whisper mutiny fears per anecdote, trapped with no retreat. Amid chaos, blades inches away, he roars, drowning rain, follow me, we win. Exhausted troops rally, his unyielding gaze their anchor. Near death? Like dodging a crash with seconds to spare. Issus's trials, terrain odds losses, forge Alexander. Defying mutiny, death, he pierces Persian center with companions, routing Darius. A soldier murmurs per legend amid bloodied rain, no challenge stops him. Though possibly invented, it mirrors his resolve. Adversity as glory's springboard. You stand with Alexander, rain-soaked, armor bloodied, Darius fleeing. As Issus's storm fades, waves hush, dream of greater triumphs where his name shines. You stride Issus's dusk-lit plain, 333 BCE, battle's haze lingering, Persian cries fading, Macedonian cheers rising. Smoke swirls, blood and sand scent air, sun sets red. No victory selfies, just conquests wait. Picture crushing a rival like topping leaderboards with half the gear. Issus's triumph cements Alexander's legend, opening empires. Be thankful your wins involve likes, not lives, as we bask in his glory. Issus ends decisively. Arrian estimates 1,000 to 2,000 Macedonian losses against 20,000, 30,000 Persians. Darius flees, abandoning mother Sisygambis, wife Statera, children. Alexander's mercy shines. Plutarch recounts him treating them royally, saying to Sisygambis, mistaking another, you're not wrong, he's my Alexander too. Calculated kindness wins Persian hearts, crafting a compassionate yet invincible image. Issus unlocks Egypt, Persepolis, seizing 120,000 talents at Damascus, fuel for ambition. Mercy like that, like charming a rival's fans post-takeover. Darius's peace offer, half-empire ransom, meets Alexander's rebuff, per Curtius Rufus, I'd accept as Parmenion, but I'm Alexander. Night skies, stars above, his ambition burns, rejecting limits for total conquest. Issus's plain starlit charts his path to eternity. Rejecting deals like passing on a buyout to build a unicorn. You stand beside Alexander, Issus's night aglow, stars guiding. As cheers fade, winds whisper trials ahead. Dream of treasures and battles where his legend soars. You linger on Issus's plain, moonlight casting Alexander's shadow, blood and sand clinging, air heavy with victory's cost. No epic filters for such feats, just timeless ambition. Imagine outshining empires like going viral across centuries. Issus elevates Alexander as strategy's icon, ambition's flame, yet hints at flaws. Be thankful, your dreams don't risk thrones as we trace his immortal mark. Issus showcases genius. Narrow terrain flips Persian numbers, phalanx anchors, companions under Alexander strike Darius's heart, his flight shattering morale. His frontline valor, saved by Cletus, inspires, turning weary troops invincible. Arrian calls it strategic mastery, adversity into advantage. Egypt falls next, Siwa naming him Zeus's son. Damascus's 120,000 talents fund Persepolis's march. Plutarch notes Hellenism's seeds sown, Alexandria's blooming, inspiring Caesar to Napoleon. Strategic flips, like hacking a game's mechanics for a win. Yet Issus reveals cracks. Rejecting Darius's peace per Curtius Rufus, I'd agree as Parmenion, but I'm Alexander. Extends war, sowing future losses, straining loyalists like Parmenion, later doomed. Greatness lies in defying limits, but ambition's cost brews discord. A general whispers, per legend, starward, he fights for forever, but at what price? Though possibly fabricated, it echoes his paradox, glory entwined with tragedy. You stand with Alexander, Issus's stars above, horizon boundless. As winds hint at trials, dream of rivers where his name whispers eternally. As the starlit plain of Issus fades, its echoes of clashing steel and a king's unyielding ambition linger. What audacious feat might Alexander undertake to conquer a fortress guarded by the sea itself, defying nature and man alike? Tonight, we delve into the Siege of Tyre, a 7-month epic in 332 BCE, where Alexander the Great faced an impregnable island city, transforming impossibility into legend through sheer will and ingenuity. You stand on Phoenicia's rugged shore, waves crashing against jagged rocks, the air thick with salt and tension under a blazing sun. No naval simulators for this conquest, just a king's gaze piercing the horizon. Picture building a bridge to an island fortress, like coding a solution to bypass an unbreakable firewall. Here, Alexander's brilliance turns sea into land, his greatness forged in defiance of nature's wrath. Be thankful your challenges involve Wi-Fi drops, not battling oceans as we sail into his monumental siege. Post-Issus 333 BCE, Alexander, fresh from routing Darius III, marches south through Phoenicia, modern Lebanon, with 40,000 battle-hardened troops, Macedonian phalanx, companion cavalry, Greek allies. Arrian recounts his aim: neutralize Persia's formidable Mediterranean fleet threatening Greece's rear. The coastal path, rocky and sweltering, tests endurance. Humid heat saps soldiers, supplies dwindle, local ambushes loom. Sidon and Byblos surrender swiftly, awed by his reputation, but Tyre, a mighty island city 800 meters offshore, defies him. Its 45-meter walls and powerful navy make it a Persian stronghold. On the shore, waves roaring, Alexander declares, per Diodorus Siculus, nothing is impossible to him who tries. Facing Tyre, like tackling a server with top-tier encryption. His decision to besiege Tyre is unprecedented. Lacking a navy to match Tyre's 80 warships, he orders an 800-meter causeway built to connect mainland to island, a feat defying sea and storm. Soldiers, land-bred, haul thousands of tons of stone and timber from Lebanon's mountains, battling crashing waves. Tyre's defenders hurl massive boulders to disrupt the causeway, deploy fire ships laden with burning pitch to torch siege towers. Arrian notes generals, including Hephaestion, warn of morale collapse from prolonged effort. Yet Alexander, supervising stone by stone, rallies troops. We'll make the sea our land, no challenge is too great. 7 months later, the causeway complete, he marshals a new fleet from surrendered Sidon, Cyprus, 120 ships, to blockade Tyre. Leading mobile siege towers, he storms the walls, sword flashing amid arrows and fire. Tyre falls, a testament to his will. Building that, like coding an app under DDoS attack, relentless. His mercy tempers terror, sparing surrendering Tyrians, including King Asimilcus. But per Curtius Rufus, 2,000 resistors are crucified along walls, a grim warning. This duality, brutal yet calculatedly kind, secures Phoenicia, paving his path to Egypt. You stand with him, waves lapping the causeway, his eyes fixed on the fallen city. As moonlight glints, winds whisper ambition's cost, dream of conquests where his legend ascends. You linger on Phoenicia's shore. 332 BCE, waves pounding under a scorching sun, Tyre's 45-meter walls mocking from 800 meters out. The Siege of Tyre, a grueling 7-month campaign from January to August, tests Alexander's genius. No naval supremacy, just a vision to conquer the unconquerable. Imagine bridging an ocean, like hot-wiring a system with no manual. His audacious causeway redefines warfare, his greatness shining through audacity. Be thankful your bold plans don't face fire ships, as we explore his sea-defying command. Facing Tyre's naval might and towering walls, Alexander 23 rejects retreat. He envisions a causeway, 800 meters, 60 meters wide, using Lebanon's stone and timber to link land to island. Arrian details soldiers toiling under waves, building amid storms. Alexander oversees each block, quoting Diodorus Siculus, "I fear no army of lions led by a sheep." His words ignite resolve. Tyrian fire ships burn towers, boulders sink progress. Generals urge negotiation as Tyre offers neutrality. Plutarch records his rebuff. Tyre falls, or no city is safe. This arrogance, while branding him invincible, hints at unyielding ambition straining loyalties. Building a causeway? Like launching a startup with no funding, mid-crisis. His strategy blends engineering and warfare. Mobile 30-meter siege towers mounted on ships bombard walls, a technical marvel. He secures 120 ships from Sidon, Cyprus, blockading Tyre's ports, starving its navy. August 332, he launches a tri-pronged assault. Causeway troops, northern and southern fleets. Sword in hand, he scales walls under scalding sand and arrows, leading the breach. Tyre crumbles, his frontline valor inspiring victory. Commanding that? Like sinking a global team under fire, flawless. His duality persists, 2,000 crucified, yet Asimilcus spared, balancing terror with mercy to stabilize Phoenicia. You stand on the causeway, Alexander's sword gleaming, waves roaring defeat. As sun sets, winds hint at tensions brewing, dream of battles where his name echoes. You stand on Phoenicia's windswept shore, 332 BCE, waves crashing, Tyre's walls looming. Torchlight flickers in the command tent, generals' voices tense. The siege of Tyre's audacious plan, a causeway to an island fortress, sparks dissent. Picture debating a visionary risking all. Like pitching caution to a CEO betting the company. Here, Alexander's resolve clashes with his general's pragmatism, forging greatness amid doubt. Be thankful your arguments don't face sea battles as we probe their rift. Exhausted from Cilicia's march, facing humid heat and scarce supplies, generals like Parmenion see Tyre as impregnable. Arrian records their plea. Tyre's sea and navy shield it. Building a causeway wastes months, risks storms, enemy raids. Bypass it, secure Egypt. Hephaestion suggests accepting Tyre's neutrality to save strength. Soldiers Tyre, morale phrase. Yet Alexander, shoreside, eyes locked on Tyre, counters, per Diodorus Siculus. Leave Tyre and Persia's fleet threatens Greece. We build victory's path. His vision, neutralizing Persia's navy, trumps caution, but risks alienating loyalists. Defying advice, like greenlighting a moonshot over board objections. This clash pragmatism versus ambition defines him. Generals seek preservation, Alexander, immortality. Rejecting neutrality, he bets on the causeway, turning sea into conquest's road. His defiance proves wise. Tyre falls, securing his rear. Yet, per Plutarch, his refusal to compromise widens rifts with Parmenion, foreshadowing future betrayals. A soldier whispers, per legend, he sees what we cannot, though possibly fabricated, capturing his singular drive. You linger by Alexander, shore winds howling, generals' words fading. As torches dim, dream of conquests where his vision prevails. You stand on Phoenicia's storm-lashed shore, 332 BCE, waves raging, Tyre's walls defiant 800 meters out. The siege of Tyre, January to August, pits Alexander against nature and man. Sea, enemy fleet, and brutal resistance threaten collapse. Imagine fighting where elements conspire, like debugging code in a blackout. These trials forge Alexander's legend, his greatness rising from adversity. Be thankful your struggles don't involve fire ships, as we face his crucible. Tyre's 800-meter gap, 5 to 6 meter depths, defies the causeway. Diodorus Siculus details waves washing away stones, storms wrecking progress. Macedonians, land warriors, toil in freezing rain, some drowning. Tyre's 80-ship fleet harasses with fire ships, burning pitch torching towers. Arrian notes Tyrians chaining underwater obstacles, sinking Macedonian vessels. Curtius Rufus records hundreds falling to arrows, boiling oil, scalding sand from 45-meter walls. Early assaults fail, morale wanes, whispers of mutiny ripple per anecdote as months drag. Rain-soaked Alexander stands amid chaos, eyes fixed on Tyre, vowing no challenge is too great. Facing that, like launching a rocket in a hurricane. Nature's wrath springs storms, gales compounds peril. Soldiers soaked, frostbitten, work under fire. Tyrian defiance, pouring molten sand, scars and terrifies. Yet Alexander's presence directing, fighting holds the line. His resolve, per legend, quells mutiny fears, a soldier murmuring, he defies gods and sea. Though possibly invented, it mirrors his unyielding spirit. You stand on the causeway, waves crashing, Alexander unbowed. As storms hush, dream of triumphs where his will conquers all. You stride the half-built causeway, 332 BCE, waves roaring below, Tyre's walls glaring. From January to August, Alexander's 7-month siege defies sea, fleet, and storm. Picture engineering victory against nature, like hacking reality's code. His persistence, ingenuity, and tactics turn impossibility into triumph, his greatness blazing. Be thankful your projects don't battle oceans as we witness his mastery. Alexander's tenacity shines. Despite waves and storms, he widens the causeway to 60 meters, using Lebanon's stone timber to defy nature. Fireships burn towers, he rebuilds, undaunted. Arrian details his 30-meter ship-mounted siege towers, a technical marvel, bombarding walls. Lacking naval prowess, he secures 120 ships from Sidon, Cyprus, blockading Tyre's ports, starving its fleet. Diodorus Siculus notes his catapults pounding from ships, phalanx and cavalry surging on the causeway. August's tri-pronged assault causeway, northern, southern fleets sees him scale walls, sword flashing under scalding sand. His frontline valor, per Plutarch, transforms weary troops into an unstoppable force. Tyre falls, his mantra echoing, nothing is impossible to him who tries. Engineering that? Like building a platform under siege, perfect. His genius blends engineering, strategy, courage. Leading the breach, he inspires victory. You stand on Tyre's walls, Alexander bloodied but radiant, sea tamed. As waves calm, dream of conquests where his brilliance shines. You stand on Tyre's causeway, 332 BCE, waves thundering, the island city's walls looming under a stormy sky. The siege of Tyre, January to August, is as much mind as might. Alexander wields fear to break Tyre's spirit. Picture outsmarting foes psychologically, like winning a debate before it starts. His cunning, bravery, and ruthlessness craft legend, yet reveals shadows. Be thankful your strategies don't involve crucifying foes, as we probe his psyche. Alexander's psychological warfare is relentless. Curtius Rufus records envoys sent to Tyre, warning of annihilation unless they yield. His Ischius victory fuels dread, sowing panic among Tyrians despite their walls. As the causeway nears, his tri-pronged August assault causeway troops, northern, southern fleets overwhelms. Leading the wall breach, sword flashing under scalding sand, his valor, per Plutarch, ignites Macedonian fervor. Tyre falls, 2,000 soldiers crucified per Curtius Rufus, terrify the Mediterranean, yet he spares Asimilcus civilians, balancing terror with mercy. His mantra, per Diodorus Siculus, "Nothing is impossible," defines him. Intimidating like that, like dropping a viral threat that reshapes the game. His technical brilliance, 60-meter causeway, 30-meter ship towers, 120 ship blockade seals victory. Yet his ruthlessness, crucifying thousands, hints at ambition's cost, straining ties with generals like Parmenion. You stand on fallen Tyre, Alexander's gaze seaward, waves whispering glory's price. As smoke clears, dream of battles where his legend grows. You stand atop Tyre's ruined walls, 332 BCE, smoke rising, waves lapping the 800-meter causeway, a marvel of Alexander's will. The siege of Tyre, January to August, ends with the island city's fall, a pivotal triumph. Picture crushing an untouchable rival, like dominating a market with no playbook. This victory reshapes empires, yet exposes ambition's toll. Be thankful your wins don't cost thousands, as we revel in his conquest. Tyre's fall sends shockwaves. Curtius Rufus notes 2,000 soldiers crucified, a chilling warning. 8,000 Tyrians die, thousands enslaved against 400 to 500 Macedonian losses. Alexander's mercy sparing Asimilcus, some civilians secures Phoenicia per Arrian, neutralizing Persia's fleet, opening Gaza, Egypt. Alexandria's founding spreads Hellenism. Tyre's treasures thousands of talents, fuel Persepolis India campaigns. He stands atop ruins, eyes proud yet pensive, measuring glory's cost. Winning like that, like seizing a platform, but with blood. Tyre's fall pivots Alexander's empire, cementing his invincible image. Yet, per Plutarch, his harshness deepens rifts with loyalists, foreshadowing strife. You stand with him, sea-stretching, winds hinting at trials. As smoke fades, dream of treasures and conquests where his name endures. You linger on Tyre's shore, 332 BCE, causeway stretching, ruins smoldering under moonlight. The Siege of Tyre, a 7-month saga, elevates Alexander as persistence and engineering's icon, yet unveils his dual nature. Picture becoming a legend at 23, like trending eternally. His triumph shapes history, but ambition's shadows loom. Be thankful your dreams don't risk empires as we trace his legacy. Tyre's conquest causeway, ship towers, 120 ship blockade marks genius. Arrian credits his 60-meter causeway, 30-meter towers, turning sea into battlefield. His frontline charge, per Plutarch, under scalding sand, inspires victory. Crucifying 2,000, sparing Asimilcus, he balances terror with mercy, per Curtius Rufus, cowing the Mediterranean. Tyre's fall enables Egypt, Alexandria's rise, Hellenism's spread, treasures fueling India. His mantra, "Nothing is impossible," per Diodorus Siculus, defines him. Such feats, like revolutionizing tech mid-crisis. Yet Tyre exposes flaws. Relentless ambition, rejecting generals' caution, per Plutarch, phrase bonds with Parmenion, hinting at future betrayals. His dream East-West empire clashes with ruthless means, crucifying thousands. A soldier whispers, per legend, he conquers all but loses some, though possibly fabricated, echoing glory's cost. You stand with Alexander, Tyre's waves lapping, horizon boundless. As winds whisper, dream of seas where his legend sails eternal. As the sea-kissed ruins of Tyre fade into the Phoenician dusk, waves whispering of a king who bent the ocean to his will, what titanic clash awaits to etch his name into eternity? Tonight, we step onto the sun-scorched plains of Gaugamela, October 1st, 331 BCE, near Arbela in modern northern Iraq, where Alexander the Great faced Darius III's colossal Persian army in a battle that shattered an empire. Here, amidst swirling dust and thundering hooves, his strategic genius, unyielding ambition, and raw courage crafted a victory that reshaped the world, forging a legend both radiant and shadowed. You stand on Gaugamela's vast plain, the Mesopotamian sun blazing, air thick with dust and the metallic tang of impending war. Hooves pound, armor clanks, and a young king's gaze burns with destiny's fire. No war games capture this high-stakes crucible. Imagine outwitting a rival with 100 times your resources, your every move a gamble for immortality. At Gaugamela, Alexander turns impossible odds into triumph, his greatness woven from audacity, intellect, and sacrifice. Be thankful, your battles involve missed calls, not scythed chariots, as we march into his defining hour. Picture yourself trudging through Mesopotamia's scorching deserts, 331 BCE, sand stinging your face, the horizon shimmering under a relentless sun. Alexander the Great, a 24-year-old king with eyes like molten steel, leads 40,000 battle-hardened troops, 7,000 cavalry, 33,000 infantry, toward Gaugamela, where Darius III, the Persian king of kings, awaits with an army twice their size. After crushing Tyre's island fortress and conquering Egypt, this journey is no mere campaign. It's the crescendo of ambition, a quest to seize the heart of the Persian Empire. Every step through this unforgiving land tests Alexander's vision, his soldiers' endurance, and the limits of human will. Post-Tyre, 332 BCE, Alexander swept through Egypt, welcomed as a liberator and crowned pharaoh. At Siwa's oracle, Arrian records, priests hailed him as Zeus Amun's son, fueling his divine aura. Yet victory never dulled his hunger. In spring 331 BCE, he drives his army north from Egypt into Mesopotamia, modern northern Iraq, a grueling march spanning months across arid plains and rocky defiles. The heat is merciless. Soldiers' armor scalds skin, water skins run dry, and mirages taunt weary eyes. Local tribes, loyal to Persia, stage ambushes, their arrows whistling from dunes. Supplies dwindle, dysentery fells dozens. Alexander counters with strategic foresight, building fortified outposts along supply routes, ensuring grain and water flow. He interrogates captured Persian scouts, piecing together Darius's plans, his mind a chessboard mapping every move. His leadership binds the army. Sharing their hardships, he walks beside infantry, his boots as dust-caked as theirs, sipping from shared flasks under a blistering sun. Plutarch recounts his words, "Nothing is impossible to him who tries." When a soldier falters, Alexander, astride Bucephalus, offers his own water, a gesture sparking loyalty brighter than gold. At night, under star-strewn skies, he rallies them with tales of glory, his voice cutting through the desert chill. We march not just for land, but for eternity. Founding outposts, he plants seeds of Hellenism, naming one Alexandria Ariana, a beacon of Greek culture in Persia's heart. Such leadership? Like inspiring a startup team through a brutal crunch. No sleep, no resources, just vision. Darius, humiliated at Issus, amasses 80,000, 100,000 troops at Gaugamela, 15,000 cavalry, 10,000 immortals, 200 scythed chariots, per Diodorus Siculus. The flat plain, smoothed by Persian engineers, favors his numbers, cavalry and chariots, unlike Issus's narrow confines. Alexander's 40,000 face a human sea, their banners stretching to the horizon. The night before battle, he surveys the field by torchlight, plotting under a canopy of stars. Arrian notes his calm, almost otherworldly focus as he whispers to his generals, "We'll topple the king of kings, and the world will bow." A soldier, per legend, murmurs by the campfire, he sees beyond the stars. Though possibly apocryphal, it captures his boundless ambition. This march, from Tyre's shores to Mesopotamia's heart, is a testament to Alexander's will. Each parched mile, each shared sip, each fortified camp declares him more than a king, a force defying nature, foes, and doubt. Yet the desert winds whisper of costs, strained loyalties, exhausted men, a dream that might consume all. You stand with him on Gaugamela's edge, dust swirling, hooves echoing. As moonlight bathes the plain, dream of a clash where his legend ascends, but shadows loom. Envision standing on Gaugamela's endless plain, October 1st, 331 BCE, the Mesopotamian sun igniting the earth, dust clouds rising like specters. Before you, Darius III's 80,000 to 100,000 troops, 15,000 cavalry, 200 scythed chariots, 10,000 immortals, form a wall of steel and flesh under golden banners. Alexander, commanding 40,000 Macedonians, faces a foe twice his size on terrain tailored for Persian might. No war room for this gamble. Imagine outmaneuvering a tech giant with a skeleton crew. His audacious choice to strike by day with a feigned retreat crafts Gaugamela into a strategic masterpiece, a testament to honor and genius. The plain's flat expanse is a Persian advantage, amplifying cavalry and chariots that could shred Alexander's phalanx. Parmenion, his veteran general, urges a night attack to disrupt Persian cohesion and shield their smaller force, warning of envelopment. Other generals, like Hephaestion, echo caution, citing exhausted troops and chariot threats. But Alexander, eyes blazing like desert fire, rejects stealth. Arrian records his retort. Alexander defeats openly and honestly. This isn't just tactics, it's branding, a vow to win under the world's gaze, his honor as vital as victory. Picture rejecting a shortcut to prove your worth, stakes life or death. His plan is daring, a hammer and anvil formation, refined to perfection. The phalanx, wielding 5 to 6 meter sarissas, forms an unbreakable anvil, anchoring the center against Persian waves. Alexander, leading 1,800 companion cavalry, is the hammer, poised for a devastating strike. He skews his line right, a feigned retreat to lure Bessus's left wing, per Diodorus Siculus. As gaps open, he wheels, charging straight for Darius like a thunderbolt. The speed and surprise shatter Persian morale. Darius flees, his army unraveling. Orchestrating this? Like sinking a global hackathon, mid-crisis flawless. His frontline presence electrifies. Astride Bucephalus, armor gleaming, he leads the charge, sword flashing through dust and arrows. Plutarch notes his near death in a cavalry melee, saved by Cletus the Black and Hephaestion, their loyalty a cornerstone of his legend. This lure-the-wing tactic, paired with chariot countermeasures, phalanx lanes letting them pass harmlessly, archers targeting horses, neutralizes Persia's edge. His honor-driven daylight strike proves his genius. Psychology and precision trump numbers. You stand with him, dust choking, Darius's banners falling. As sun climbs, winds whisper of glory's cost, dream of battles where his strategy reigns supreme. Picture yourself in a torchlit tent on Gaugamella's edge, 331 BCE, Mesopotamian night heavy with tension, stars dimmed by firelight. Darius's 80,000 to 100,000 troops loom beyond the plain, their campfires a distant sea. Alexander, 24, faces his generals, their faces etched with worry. Parmenion, grizzled and battle-wise, pleads caution, his voice clashing with the young king's fire. No boardroom rivals this. Imagine debating a visionary betting an empire on one move. This rift, pragmatism versus ambition, shapes Alexander's greatness, revealing both brilliance and cracks. Be thankful your arguments don't face chariot hordes as we delve into their clash. Parmenion, seasoned by decades of war, sees disaster. Persia's 15,000 cavalry, 200 scythe chariots, and 10,000 immortals dwarf Alexander's 40,000. The flat plain favors Persia's mobility, risking envelopment. Arrian records Parmenion's plea, "Their numbers crush us, chariots will shred our phalanx, my left wing's exposed. Strike at night to sow chaos, or wait for Greek reinforcements." Hephaestion and others nod, citing troops' exhaustion from desert marches, water scarce, morale fraying after months of hardship. A night attack could spare lives, they argue, preserving the army for future conquests. Alexander, standing tall, eyes like burning coals, rejects caution. Plutarch captures his defiance. Victory shines in daylight for all to see. This isn't just strategy, it's a declaration of identity. He craves a triumph no one can question, a spectacle to cow empires. His plan, a feigned retreat to lure Bessus's wings, exposing Darius, gambles all on audacity. He surveys the plain by torchlight, mapping every ridge, his voice steady. We'll break their king and their empire falls. Defying generals? Like greenlighting a moonshot over boardroom fears, all in. This clash illuminates Alexander's paradox. Parmenion seeks survival, his caution rooted in loyalty and experience. Alexander chases immortality, seeing Gaugamela as his stage to prove divinity. Diodorus Siculus notes this tension. Generals fear annihilation, but Alexander sees only glory. His daylight gamble pays off. Darius flees, Persia crumbles, but his refusal to heed Parmenion sows seeds of distrust. Per Curtius Rufus, this rift foreshadows Parmenion's tragic end, a loyalist alienated by unyielding ambition. A soldier whispers, per legend, "He outdreams us all." Though possibly fabricated, it mirrors his singular vision. You linger in the tent, Alexander's gaze piercing the night, Parmenion's words fading. As winds howl, dream of triumphs where his will defies all doubt. Envision Gaugamela's plain, October 1st, 331 BCE, sun scorching a boundless expanse, dust stinging eyes. Darius's 80,000 to 100,000 troops, 15,000 cavalry, 200 scythed chariots, 10,000 immortals, form a human tide, their banners a wall of defiance. Alexander's 40,000 Macedonians outnumbered face a crucible of terrain, numbers, and early losses. No fallback for this fight. Imagine coding under siege, systems failing, stakes existential. These trials forge Alexander's legend, his greatness rising from adversity's fire. Be thankful your struggles don't involve blades slicing through ranks as we brave his gauntlet. Gaugamela's flat terrain is a Macedonian nightmare per Aryan. Unlike Issus's narrow pass, it amplifies Persia's cavalry and chariots whose scythes can sever limbs in a charge. The phalanx with 5 to 6 meters sarissas struggles to pivot, vulnerable to envelopment. Persia's numbers, 80,000 to 100,000, including Bactrian cavalry, immortals, Greek mercenaries, create a psychological wall per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander's 7,000 cavalry and 33,000 infantry face a sea of foes, their golden standards glinting mockingly. The plain's openness threatens to drown his smaller force in a tide of steel. Early losses sting. Parmenian's left wing, holding the line, buckles under cavalry assaults, hundreds falling to lances and hooves per Curtius Rufus. Scythed chariots charge, blades carving through phalanx ranks, leaving trails of blood and screams. Arrows rain from Persian archers, disrupting formations. Morale wavers as desert-worn troops, parched and weary, face annihilation. Alexander, charging Darius's center, is nearly overwhelmed in a cavalry melee, saved by Hephaestion and Cletus, per Plutarch. Mutiny whispers surface, per anecdote, as soldiers exhausted from months of marching, dread defeat. Facing this, like debugging a crashing server under attack, no lifeline. Alexander's resolve anchors them. Amid chaos, he rides through ranks, voice cutting through dust. No challenge breaks us. His presence, armor bloodied, eyes unyielding, quells fear. A soldier, per legend, murmurs, he fights like a god, though possibly invented, echoing his defiance. You stand with him, chariots thundering, blood-soaking sand. As sun climbs, dream of victories where his spirit conquers all. Picture Gaugamela's plain, 331 BCE, dust swirling under a blazing sun, Persia's 80,000 to 100,000 troops a formidable wall. Alexander's 40,000 Macedonians face impossible odds, yet his lure the wing, tactic and raw courage turn peril into triumph. No blueprint for this. Imagine rewriting a game's rules mid-match, winning against hacks. His genius, coordination and valor craft a strategic masterpiece. Be thankful your victories don't demand dodging scythes as we witness his mastery. Alexander's lure the wing tactic is a stroke of brilliance. Skewing his line right, he feigns retreat, baiting Bessus's 8,000-strong left wing to chase, per Aryan. As gaps open in Persia's center, he leads 1,800 companion cavalry in a lightning charge toward Darius. Speed and surprise shatter enemy cohesion. Darius flees, morale collapsing, per Diodorus Siculus. To counter scythed chariots, he orders phalanx lanes opened, letting them pass harmlessly, while archers and Agrianoid javelineers target horses, turning Persia's weapons into chaos. This ingenuity flips their advantage, a chessmaster's gambit. Coordination is flawless. The phalanx, sarissas bristling, anchors like an anvil, absorbing brutal chariot and infantry assaults, losing hundreds but holding firm. Alexander's cavalry, the hammer, smashes Darius's heart. When Parmenian's left wing falters under cavalry, Alexander pivots companions to relieve per Curtius Rufus, his battlefield awareness godlike. His frontline charge, sword flashing, nearly dying in a melee, saved by Hephaestion and Cletus, ignites troops per Plutarch. His cry, "I fear no lions," led by a sheep per Diodorus Siculus, transforms exhaustion into fury. Leading like that, like conducting a symphony under fire, perfect. His bonds shine. Hephaestion's Cletus's rescues underscore loyalty, a hallmark of his legend. You stand with him, dust choking, Darius fleeing. As sun sets, dream of conquests where his genius blazes. Envision Gaugamela's dawn 331 BCE, dust rising, Persia's 80,000 to 100,000 troops a menacing tide. Alexander with 40,000 wields not just steel but fear, breaking Persian resolve before swords clash. No algorithm for this. Imagine outpsyching a rival before the pitch. His psychological warfare, paired with valor and ingenuity, crafts victory, yet reveals ambition's shadows. Be thankful your strategies don't involve crucifying foes as we probe his mind. Alexander's psychological edge is relentless. Before battle, he sends envoys warning Darius of annihilation unless he yields, per Curtius Rufus. His Ishis triumph fuels dread, sowing doubt among Persians despite their numbers. As battle looms, he parades captured Persian scouts, their fear spreading panic, per Arrian. His daylight charge, leading companions toward Darius, isn't just tactical, it's a spectacle, his armor gleaming, a god among men, per Plutarch. Darius's flight, seeing Alexander's unstoppable advance, breaks Persian morale, army collapsing in chaos. Intimidating like that, like dropping a viral campaign that reshapes the board. His technical brilliance supports this. Phalanx lanes, archer volleys, and companion charges dismantle Persia's might. Post-victory, he spares Darius's family, Sisygambus, Statera, winning Persian hearts, but executes Greek mercenaries, a brutal message per Curtius Rufus. His mantra, "Nothing is impossible," defines him. Yet his ruthlessness strains ties with generals like Parmenion, hinting at future fractures. You stand on the plain, Alexander's gaze piercing the horizon, winds whispering glory's price. As dust settles, dream of battles where his legend grows. Stand on Gaugamella's bloodied plain, October 331 BCE, smoke rising, Persian banners fallen. Alexander's 40,000 rout 80,000 to 100,000, a triumph toppling an empire. No victory posts capture this. Imagine dominating an industry overnight with blood. This win reshapes history, yet its costs linger. Be thankful your successes don't cost thousands, as we bask in his glory. Arrian estimates 20,000 to 40,000 Persian dead, including immortals, against 500 to 1,000 Macedonians. Darius flees east, abandoning Persepolis, Susa, and 120,000 talents of gold, per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander seizes these, torching Persepolis's palace, a symbol. Persia is his. He treats Darius's family, Sisygambus, Statera, children, like royalty, per Curtius Rufus, winning loyalty, but executes Greek mercenaries for treason, a chilling warning. This duality, mercy and terror, secures Babylon, Susa, and opens Central Asia, India. Alexandria's founding spreads Hellenism, treasures fuel conquests. You stand with him, gold glinting, blood pooling. Conquering this, like seizing a market, but with empires at stake. Gaugamella's fall crowns Alexander invincible, yet his harshness deepens rifts with loyalists, per Plutarch, foreshadowing betrayals. As cheers fade, winds whisper of trials ahead, dream of treasures where his name endures. Linger on Gaugamella's moonlit plain, October 331 BCE, dust settling, ruins smoldering. Alexander's triumph, 47,000 against 100,000 to 250,000 Persians, marks him as strategy's titan, a legend eternal, yet shadowed by flaws. No filter captures the imagine trending across centuries. Gaugamela, fought near Arbela, elevates him to godhood, but ambition's cost looms. Be thankful your dreams don't risk empires, as we trace his legacy. Gaugamela's genius dazzles. A feigned retreat lures Bessus, exposing Darius, per Arrian. Phalanx lanes neutralize chariots. Companions strike like lightning. Darius's flight shattering morale, per Diodorus Siculus. Leading the charge, nearly dying, saved by Hephaestion. Cleitus, his valor inspires, per Plutarch. His daylight fight, spurning Parmenion's night strike, brands his honor, but risks heavy losses. Parmenion's wing nearly breaks. Babylon, Susa, Persepolis fall, 120,000 talents fueling India, Hellenism blooming via Alexandria's. His mantra, "Nothing is impossible," defines him. Such mastery, like rewriting history's code in chaos. Yet his arrogance, ignoring caution, executing mercenaries, frays bonds with Parmenion, per Curtius Rufus, presaging tragedy. His east-west dream clashes with ruthless means, exhausting troops. A soldier whispers, per legend, he wins all yet loses some, possibly fabricated but echoing glory's price. You stand with him, stars above, horizon endless. As winds carry his words, let sleep carry us to farther horizons. Dream of rivers where his legend flows eternal. As the golden glow of Gaugamella's triumph fades, the captured treasures of Persepolis gleaming under Babylonian skies, what storm brews within the Macedonian ranks to threaten the empire forged by a king's unyielding ambition? Tonight, we step into the turbulent sands of Frauda, 330 BCE, modern Farah, Afghanistan, where the Philotas conspiracy and the execution of Parmenion unravel Alexander the Great's inner circle, exposing the shadows of doubt and the brutal cost of absolute power. Here, amidst whispered plots and bloodied blades, his genius and paranoia clash, carving a wound into his legacy that echoes through time. You stand in a windswept Macedonian camp, the air thick with dust and tension, torches flickering against the desert night. The clink of armor and murmurs of discontent mingle with the distant howl of jackals. No political thriller rivals this high-stakes drama. Imagine navigating a startup where betrayal lurks in every shadow. In the Philotas affair and Parmenions' fall, Alexander's brilliance battles his fears, his greatness marred by ruthlessness. Be thankful your crises involve boardroom disputes, not execution orders, as we delve into this tragic chapter. Following Gaugamenla's resounding victory in 331 BCE, Alexander seizes Persepolis, the Persian Empire's heart, amassing 120,000 talents of gold, a fortune to fuel his dreams. In 330 BCE, he drives 40,000 battle-worn troops through Media and Parthia's harsh terrains, pursuing Darius III's remnants, now led by the usurper Bessus, satrap of Bactria. The march is grueling. Scorching days, freezing nights, and dwindling supplies test endurance. Local tribes harass with hit-and-run raids, arrows slicing through the dust. Yet a deeper threat festers within. His army, exhausted after 5 years of relentless campaigns, grows restless. Alexander's adoption of Persian customs, donning their robes, demanding proskynesis, appointing Persian nobles to high ranks, alienates his Macedonian veterans, who yearn for Pella's familiar hills. Arrian notes their grumbling. Our king becomes a Persian lord. This tension sets the stage for the Philotas conspiracy, a spark that ignites a storm of suspicion and bloodshed. In Frauda, 330 BCE, a plot to assassinate Alexander surfaces, shaking the camp to its core. Dimnus, a minor Macedonian soldier, is accused of scheming to kill the king, perhaps driven by resentment over Persianization or personal grievances. Curtius Rufus records that Dimnus confides in his lover, Nicomachus, who informs his brother Sabellinus. Fearing implication, Sabellinus seeks to warn Alexander, but approaches Philotas, commander of the elite companion cavalry, a hero of Granicus, Issus, and Gaugamela. Philotas, known for his arrogance, dismisses the report as trivial gossip, saying, per Curtius Rufus, such idle talk isn't worth troubling the king. When Sabellinus bypasses him, alerting Alexander through another channel, the king learns of Philotas's delay. Suspicion flares. Alexander, scarred by his father Philip II's assassination in 336 BCE, sees treachery. Is Philotas negligent or complicit? This question, unanswered, fuels a crisis that reshapes the empire. Alexander summons a military tribunal at Frauda, transforming a whispered plot into a public spectacle to cement his authority. No courtroom drama matches this. Imagine staging a corporate purge to silence dissent. He orders Philotas's arrest, accusing him not only of failing to report the plot, but of arrogance in criticizing Persianization. Under Macedonian custom, torture, whips, and fire extracts confessions. Philotas admits to dismissing the report, but denies treason, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander, unyielding, orders his execution by stoning, a brutal punishment to deter dissent. This decision showcases political acumen, eliminating a powerful figure who might challenge the throne, while signaling that suspicion alone invites death. Orchestrating this? Like firing a key executive under scrutiny, ensuring loyalty through fear. Some generals, possibly Coenus or Ptolemy, urge caution, per modern historians like Robin Lane Fox. Philotas's influence and his family's legacy, tied to Parmenion, make his execution risky, potentially fracturing the army's morale. They advocate thorough investigation, fearing unrest among the companions. Alexander, haunted by Philip's murder, dismisses restraint, declaring, per legend, a spark can burn an empire. His words, possibly apocryphal, underscore his paranoia-driven resolve. This clash, caution versus decisiveness, reveals his paradox. A brilliant leader consumed by fear of betrayal. Rejecting advice, he bets on terror to secure loyalty, a gamble that stabilizes but scars his reign. You stand in the torchlit tribunal, Alexander's gaze cold, Philotas's fate sealed. As winds whisper, dream of a court where loyalty hangs by a thread. The Philotas affair is fraught with challenges, each a dagger to Alexander's fragile unity. No evidence directly ties Philotas to the plot. Only Nicomachus and Sabellinus' testimony, thin and uncorroborated, fuels the case, per Curtius Rufus, sparking debate over the trial's fairness. Philotas's delay might be mere arrogance, not treason, yet Alexander sees shadows everywhere. The army, already strained, reels from losing a revered commander, the companions shaken by their leader's death. Suspicion spreads like wildfire. Generals fear false accusations, deepening rifts. At Frada, with Bessus's pursuit looming, internal chaos threatens to derail the campaign. Picture managing a team mid-crisis, trust crumbling, deadlines pressing. Alexander navigates this with calculated ruthlessness. He stages the trial publicly, letting soldiers witness Philotas's betrayal, using tortured confessions to justify execution. Distributing Persepolis's gold, he hosts feasts, rallying troops with promises of glory, per Arian. Promoting loyalists like Hephaestion and Clytus to command the companions, he tightens control. His oratory, praising the mission, invoking Zeus Ammon, redirects unrest per Diodorus Siculus. This deft maneuvering quells dissent, but suspicion lingers. A wound unhealed, you stand with him, campfires flickering, soldiers' eyes wary. As night deepens, dream of a leader balancing power and peril. Philotas's fall drags Parmenion, the 70-year-old general at Ecbatana, into the abyss. No tragedy rivals this. Imagine sacrificing a mentor to secure your vision. Parmenion, Philip II's right hand, a hero of Chaeronea, Granicus, Issus, and Gaugamela, guards 10,000 troops and Persia's treasures. His influence is unmatched, his loyalty legendary. Yet Alexander fears he might avenge his son or incite rebellion. Without evidence, he acts decisively, sending Clander with a secret order to Ecbatana. Arrian recounts Parmenion's end, stabbed while reading a forged letter from Alexander, unaware of Philotas's fate. This cold efficiency ensures no retaliation but shocks the army, a pillar of Macedonia toppled. Alexander's order is swift and clandestine, ensuring Parmenion's death before news of Philotas spreads. No corporate coup matches this. Imagine eliminating a co-founder to prevent a takeover. This pragmatism fortifies his rule, removing a potential threat, real or imagined. He presents it as necessity, protecting the empire. Yet the act, killing a loyal icon without trial, marks his ruthlessness, prioritizing power over gratitude. You stand in Ecbatana's shadows, blades flashing, Parmenion falling. As winds carry his last breath, dream of a throne secured by blood. No clear record of opposition exists, as Alexander acts covertly, per Arrian. Historians like Lane Fox speculate Hephaestion or others might have urged restraint, given Parmenion's stature. Alexander, gripped by fear, dismisses hesitation, per legend saying, "Better to act than regret inaction." This silence, no open dissent, highlights his growing isolation, a king trusting few, acting alone. Picture deciding solo, allies silenced, stakes existential. His decisiveness prevails, but at what cost? You linger in the command tent, Alexander's eyes distant, winds whispering of loyalty lost. Parmenion's execution faces steep hurdles. His prestige, earned over decades, makes his death a seismic shock, risking rebellion among veterans, per Curtius Rufus. At Ecbatana, he oversees logistics and treasures. His loss disrupts supply lines, threatening the campaign. The army, already tense, grows wary, generals fearing their next. Morale frays as soldiers mourn a symbol of Macedonian loyalty. Picture a team losing its anchor mid-project, trust eroding. Alexander conceals the act, announcing it post facto, appointing loyalists to Ecbatana, distributing gold and invoking divine favor through sacrifices, per Diodorus Siculus. His focus on Bactria redirects attention, but discontent festers. You stand with him, camped silent, eyes averted. As stars fade, dream of a king holding power, but losing hearts. The Philotas and Parmenion affair reveals Alexander's soul, genius tangled with fear. No introspection rivals this. Imagine a leader whose brilliance blinds him to trust. His strategic mastery turns a vague plot into a power play, the public trial and executions cowing dissent, per Curtius Rufus. Yet, his paranoia, rooted in Philip's murder, drives him to see enemies and allies, sacrificing Philotas and Parmenion without proof. His reliance on Hephaestion and Persian nobles alienates Macedonians, foreshadowing clashes like Clytus's death in 328 BCE and the Opis mutiny in 324 BCE. His mantra, "Nothing is impossible," per Diodorus Siculus, now carries a bitter edge, a king who conquers all but trusts none. You stand with him, Freda's winds cold, his gaze haunted. As night falls, dream of a ruler both divine and alone. In 330 BCE, Philotas and Parmenion's executions end a mighty Macedonian clan, cementing Alexander's absolute rule. No victory lap for this. Imagine a CEO purging loyalists, gaining control but losing trust. The army, revering Parmenion, sees Alexander as increasingly foreign, his Persian robes a symbol of betrayal. Discontent simmers, fueling later crises, Clytus's killing, Opus's mutiny. The affair scars his legacy, a genius who secured an empire but sowed distrust. You stand in the camp, gold glinting, blood drying. As winds whisper, dream of a throne shining, yet solitary. The Philotas and Parmenion affair, unfolding in 330 BCE, marks a tragic pivot in Alexander's saga. No epic captures this. Imagine trending for brilliance and brutality. His greatness lies in mastering crises, turning suspicion into control, yet his paranoia alienates his core. The executions solidify his power, but fracture loyalty, setting the stage for future strife. His ambition, once a beacon from Pella to Persepolis, now casts shadows of isolation. You linger in Babylon's palaces, Alexander's eyes heavy, horizon vast. As winds carry his words, let sleep carry us to farther horizons. Dream of a king whose legend shines, but whose heart bears the weight of solitude. As the dust of Gaugamela settles, its blood-soaked plains echoing with the triumph that shattered Persia's heart, what relentless pursuit drives a king to chase a fallen foe across unforgiving lands? Tonight, we plunge into Alexander the Great's Central Asian campaign, 330 to 327 BCE, a grueling odyssey through Bactria and Sogdiana, modern Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Here, amidst towering Hindu Kush peaks and merciless deserts, he faces nature's wrath, elusive tribes, and internal dissent, forging his legend through unmatched strategy and unyielding will. You stand on a wind-scoured ridge, 330 BCE, the sun searing Mesopotamia's edge, air heavy with dust and the faint clatter of hooves. The Hindu Kush looms, its 5,000-meter peaks clawing the sky, while parched sands stretch endlessly below. No adventure game rivals this crucible. Imagine outpacing a rival across a hostile frontier, your team fraying at the seams. In this campaign, Alexander's genius battles mountains, betrayal, and mutiny, his greatness etched in defiance of impossible odds. Be thankful your challenges involve missed flights, not frostbitten marches, as we tread into his epic pursuit. After Gaugamaela's triumph on October 1, 331 BCE, Alexander, undeterred by glory, chases Darius III eastward, his 40,000-strong army, battle-hardened but weary, plunging into Media and Parthia. Darius, the Persian king of kings, flees from Arbela to Ecbatana, modern Hamadan, Iran, with a dwindling force of loyalists hoping to rally Bactria and Sogdiana's distant satraps. His empire, once vast, crumbles. His army, once hundreds of thousands, now mere thousands per Aryan. Alexander, seizing Persepolis' 120,000 talents of gold, forgoes consolidation to pursue, launching a mobile campaign that tests endurance and ambition. The trek spans the Elburz Mountains and Dasht-e Kavir Desert, where 40-degree days and sub-zero nights kill soldiers with heat stroke, frostbite, and thirst. Local tribes ambush with arrows from rocky crags, stretching supply lines thin. Alexander's vision, to end Darius and claim Asia, drives him. But his Persianization policies, like wearing Persian robes and demanding proskynesis, stir unrest among Macedonians yearning for Pella's hills. In 330 BCE, from Ecbatana to Hecatompylos, modern Semnon, Iran, Alexander pursues Darius with a lean force of 20,000 to 30,000. 2,000 companion cavalry, light phalanx, Agriania archers, built for speed. No logistics software aids this. Imagine coordinating a global rollout with no Wi-Fi. Darius, betrayed by Bessus, Nabarzanes, and Barcentes, is caged in a gold-clad wagon, a pawn in their power grab. Alexander's pursuit is not just physical but psychological. Racing against betrayal and time to crush a fading empire, you stand with him, winds howling, Bucephalus snorting, as stars illuminate a path to destiny. As night falls, dream of a chase where his legend races forward, shadows trailing. Alexander's pursuit is relentless, a testament to his ambition. No marathon matches this. Imagine sprinting across continents, team exhausted, goal elusive. He selects a mobile force, leaving heavy infantry and siege equipment at Ecbatana under Parmenion per Aryan. His 20,000 to 30,000 troops, companions, light phalanx, Agriania archers, march at breakneck speed, often at night, to dodge desert heat and Persian scouts. He interrogates captured Persians, offering gold or threats to secure guides through narrow Elburz passes and scorching sands, per Curtius Rufus. Splitting his force into 2,000, 3,000-man units, he boosts flexibility, leading the vanguard astride Bucephalus, sharing soldiers' meager rations to inspire loyalty. His cry, "Nothing is impossible to him who tries," per Plutarch, ignites resolve. Picture rallying a startup through a death march. No resources, just grit. Parmenion, guarding Ecbatana's treasures, urges pause, citing the army's exhaustion post-Gaugamela and stretched logistics per Arrian. Craterus and Coenus echo him, warning of ambushes in unfamiliar terrain and supply breakdowns. The Elburz' icy passes and Dashtikavir's waterless expanse risk collapse, they argue. Spring would ease the march. Alexander, eyes blazing, rejects delay, declaring, per legend, if we pause, Darius rises again. A king rests when his enemies are dust. His defiance, branding his immortality, risks alienating loyalists, foreshadowing rifts like the Philotas affair. You stand in the command tent, torches flickering, Alexander's gaze unyielding. As winds scream, dream of a leader outpacing doubt itself. The pursuit faces brutal hurdles. The Elburz Mountains' narrow, rock-strewn passes and sub-zero nights fell soldiers with frostbite, per Curtius Rufus. Dashtikavir's scorching sands and scarce oases kill with thirst. Some drink horseblood to survive, per Arrian. Supply lines, stretching hundreds of miles from Persepolis, falter. Carts sink in sand or break on rocky trails. Macedonian veterans, homesick and resentful of Persianization, grumble, per Diodorus Siculus, their morale teetering. Darius's betrayal by Bessus complicates the chase. He's both fugitive and hostage, forcing Alexander to anticipate Persian moves. Picture debugging a failing system in a blackout, stakes existential. You stand on a sun-blasted dune, soldiers faltering, Alexander unbowed. As heat shimmers, dream of endurance defying all odds. Alexander overcomes with ruthless ingenuity. He organizes small, agile units led by Hephaestion and Ptolemy, minimizing ambush risks, per Arrian. Night marches shield movements. Local guides, bribed or coerced, navigate treacherous paths. He builds temporary forts at oases, securing water and grain, per Diodorus Siculus, and distributes Persepolis' gold to boost morale, promising riches for loyalty. Learning Darius is betrayed, he drives a 5,000-man vanguard, cavalry, and light infantry through a 3-day sleepless march, resting only for sips of brackish water, per Arrian. Reaching Hecatompylos, he finds Darius stabbed by Bessus, dying in agony. Alexander honors him with a Persian royal funeral, cloaking his body in regal purple, sending it to Persepolis, per Curtius Rufus, a political masterstroke to win Persian loyalty. Picture pivoting a failing project with sheer will, turning loss into leverage. You stand with him, Darius's blood pooling, winds whispering respect. As stars rise, dream of a king turning defeat into legitimacy. In summer 330 BCE, Darius's death at Hecatompylos ends the Achaemenid dynasty. No victory post captures this. Imagine outlasting a titan only to face new foes. Alexander seizes Hecatompylos, securing Parthia and Hyrcania, and pursues Bessus, who claims the throne as Artaxerxes' fief. Thousands of Macedonians perish from thirst, disease, or exhaustion, and Persianization fuels discontent, per Plutarch, setting the stage for Philotas's fall. Yet, Alexander's funeral for Darius cements his image as Persia's heir, easing local resistance. The campaign shifts to Bactria and Sogdiana, where guerrilla wars await. You stand in Hecatompylos, gold glinting, blood drying. As winds carry victory's weight, dream of a conqueror pressing ever onward. The pursuit from Ecbatana to Hecatompylos marks Alexander's zenith, a testament to his strategic brilliance and relentless drive. No epic rivals this. Imagine trending across millennia for outrunning fate. Transforming an exhausted army into a mobile war machine, he conquers mountains and deserts, his speed and intelligence toppling Darius. The royal funeral showcases political genius, winning Persian hearts, per Curtius Rufus. Yet the cost, thousands dead, veterans alienated by Persian customs, plants seeds of discord, foreshadowing crises like Philotas's execution and Opus's mutiny. His mantra, "Nothing is impossible to him who tries," rings true, per Plutarch. But his ambition isolates him, a king alone on Asia's edge. You linger under Sogdiana's stars, Alexander's gaze fixed eastward, horizon vast. As winds whisper, "Let sleep carry us to farther horizons," dream of fortresses where his legend battles on. As Darius III's blood stains the sands near Hecatompylos, the Achaemenid Empire crumbling in the summer of 330 BCE, what new defiance rises to challenge a king who conquered a world? Tonight we plunge into Alexander the Great's relentless pursuit of Bessus, the traitor who slew Darius and claimed the Persian throne as Artaxerxes' fief. From Hecatompylos to Bactria, 330 to 329 BCE, across the merciless Hindu Kush and scorching Dashtikavir, In modern Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, Alexander faces nature's fury, guerrilla ambushes, and his army's growing unrest, forging his legend through unmatched strategy and iron will. You stand on a frost-rimed Hindu Kush pass, 330 BCE. The air thin and biting, snow crunching underfoot, the desert's heat a distant memory. Peaks tower above 5,000 meters, their jagged shadows slicing the starlit sky. No survival game matches this ordeal. Imagine outrunning a rival across a frozen wasteland, your team on the brink of mutiny. In this chase, Alexander's genius battles terrain, betrayal, and descent, his greatness etched in defiance of impossible odds. Be thankful your struggles involve deadlines, not avalanches, as we tread into his epic hunt. After Darius's death near Hecatompylos, Bessus, Bactria's satrap and Darius's kinsman, betrays and kills his king, proclaiming himself Artaxerxes V. With a small Persian force and Bactrian tribal support, he retreats to Bactria's rugged heart, modern northern Afghanistan and parts of Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, a natural fortress of mountains and deserts, Persian. Bessus aims to rally Bactria and Sogdiana's nomadic warriors, leveraging their guerrilla tactics and terrain knowledge to thwart Alexander. Leading 20,000 to 30,000 troops, companion cavalry, light phalanx, Agriania archers, Alexander pursues to crush this usurper and secure Persia's eastern provinces. The campaign, spanning summer 330 to spring 329 BCE, pits him against the Hindu Kush's snowbound passes, where temperatures plummet below 0 degrees Celsius, and the Dasht-e Kavir's blazing sands, soaring to 45 degrees Celsius. Avalanches, thirst, and ambushes claim lives, while his Persianization, wearing Persian robes, demanding proskynesis, stokes Macedonian discontent, per Curtius Rufus. This pursuit is a crucible of will, strategy, and survival, testing Alexander's dream of a unified empire. Alexander employs lightning-fast tactics, proving his mastery of mobile warfare. No logistics app aids this. Imagine coordinating a global sprint with no backup. Splitting his force into 2,000, 3,000-man units, led by Hephaestion, Ptolemy, and Perdiccas, he maximizes speed and flexibility, leaving heavy phalanx and siege gear behind, per Arrian. Night marches dodge desert heat and Bessus's scouts. Local guides, bribed with Persepolis' gold or coerced, navigate treacherous Hindu Kush passes, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander builds temporary forts at oases like Alexandria and Arachosia, modern Kandahar, securing water and grain. Leading the vanguard astride Bucephalus, he walks with soldiers, sharing their scant rations, per Plutarch, saying, "The strong must bear the burdens of the weak." This inspires loyalty amidst grueling marches. His diplomacy, offering tax exemptions to local tribes, saps Bessus's support, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture pivoting a failing campaign with charisma and gold, turning foes into allies. Craterus and Coenus, wary of winter marches through Hindu Kush snows, urge delay until spring, citing avalanches and frostbite that kill dozens, per Arrian. The army, exhausted from chasing Darius and crossing Dasht-e Kavir, loses thousands to thirst and disease. They argue Bessus lacks the strength for immediate resistance, and stretched supply lines risk collapse. Macedonian veterans, resentful of Persianization, teeter on rebellion, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander, eyes blazing, rejects pause, declaring, per legend, a moment's delay is an empire lost. His obsession with speed, branding his invincibility, risks alienating loyalists, foreshadowing the Philotas affair. You stand in a torchlit tent, winds howling, Alexander's resolve unyielding. As snow falls, dream of a leader outracing fate. The pursuit is a gauntlet of trials. The Hindu Kush's 5,000-meter passes, snow-choked and avalanche-prone, cripple movement. Narrow, rocky trails break carts and lame horses, per Arrian. Dasht-e Kavir's scorching days and freezing nights kill with dehydration and hypothermia. Soldiers drink tainted stream water or horse blood, per Curtius Rufus. Bessus's 7,000 to 10,000 Bactrian cavalry stage hit-and-run ambushes in narrow valleys, bleeding Macedonian ranks. Supply lines stretching over 1,000 kilometers falter. Food and water shortages spark despair. Macedonian unrest grows, veterans decrying Persian customs, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture leading a team through a collapsing project, trust fraying, resources gone. You stand on a frozen ridge, soldiers shivering, Alexander unbowed. As winds bite, dream of endurance defying nature's wrath. Alexander triumphs through calculated ruthlessness and inspiration. Small, independent units under Hephaestion and Ptolemy evade ambushes, while night marches conceal movements per Arian. Forts at Bactrian oases secure supplies. Persepolis' 120,000 talents buy loyalty from soldiers and locals per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander's diplomacy, promising tax relief or governorships, turns tribes against Bessus. Spitamens and other Bactrian lords, seeing Bessus's weakness, betray him, handing him over near Sogdiana's border in spring 329 BCE per Plutarch, who notes Alexander's words, "It is better to win hearts than to break them." His 1,000-kilometer chase, relentless despite losses, captures Bessus, ending his rebellion. Picture turning a losing venture into victory with sheer will. You stand with Alexander, Bessus in chains, winds whispering triumph. As dawn breaks, dream of a king bending empires to his will. Bessus's capture in spring 329 BCE ends his brief reign. No execution video captures this. Imagine a rival's downfall going viral. Alexander orders his death in Persian style. Nose and ears cut, dragged by chariot, then executed, per Curtius Rufus. A brutal message to Central Asian tribes and a nod to Persian customs to ease resistance. He secures Bactria, founding Alexandria on the Oxus, modern Iconium. But Sogdian rebels under Spitamens launch guerrilla attacks, per Arian. Thousands of Macedonians die from exhaustion, disease, or ambushes. Persianization fuels unrest, setting the stage for Philotas's fall, per Plutarch. You stand in Bactria, forts rising, blood-soaking snow, as winds carry cries, dream of a conqueror pressing on undaunted. The pursuit of Bessus showcases Alexander's strategic brilliance and relentless drive. No saga rivals this. Imagine trending across centuries for outwitting nature and foes. His mobile tactics and intelligence turn a weary army into a relentless force, crossing Hindu Kush and deserts to crush a usurper. His Persian-style execution of Bessus wins local respect, cementing his claim as Achaemenid heir, per Curtius Rufus. Yet the cost, thousands dead, veterans alienated by Persian customs, sows discord, foreshadowing Philotas's trial and Sogdian revolts. His mantra, "A moment's delay is an empire lost," defines him, per legend, but his ambition isolates him, a king alone on Bactria's frontier. You linger under Sogdiana's stars, Alexander's gaze fixed eastward, horizon endless. As winds whisper, "Let sleep carry us to farther horizons," dream of fortresses where his legend battles on. As Bessus's bloodied chains mark the fall of a usurper in spring 329 BCE, the winds of Sogdiana howl defiance, whispering of unconquered fortresses atop jagged peaks. Tonight, we plunge into Alexander the Great's relentless pursuit of Bessus, the traitor who slew Darius and claimed the Persian throne as Artaxerxes V, from Hecatompylos to Bactria, 330 to 329 BCE. Across the merciless Hindu Kush and scorching Dasht-e-Kavir, in modern Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, Alexander faces nature's fury, guerrilla warriors, and his army's fraying loyalty, forging his legend through unmatched strategy and iron will. You stand on a frost-rimed Hindu Kush pass, 330 BCE, the air thin and biting, snow crunching underfoot, the desert's heat a distant memory. Peaks tower above 5,000 meters, their jagged shadows slicing the starlit sky. No survival game matches this ordeal. Imagine outrunning a rival across a frozen wasteland, your team on the brink of mutiny. No Netflix survival show could fake this drama. Try pitching Extreme Conquest, no Wi-Fi, no mercy to a streaming exec. In this chase, Alexander's genius battles terrain, betrayal, and descent, his greatness etched in defiance of impossible odds. Be thankful your struggles involve missed flights, not frostbitten toes or dodging arrows while your phone's at 1% battery, as we tread into his epic hunt. After Darius's death near Hecatompylos, Bessus, Bactria's satrap and Darius's kinsman, betrays and kills his king, proclaiming himself Artaxerxes V. With a small Persian force and Bactrian tribal support, he retreats to Bactria's rugged heart, modern northern Afghanistan and parts of Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, a natural fortress of mountains and deserts, per Arian. Bessus aims to rally Bactria and Sogdiana's nomadic warriors, leveraging their guerrilla tactics and terrain knowledge to thwart Alexander. Leading 20,000-30,000 troops, companion cavalry, light phalanx, Agriania archers, Alexander pursues to crush this usurper and secure Persia's eastern provinces. The campaign, spanning summer 330 to spring 329 BCE, pits him against the Hindu Kush's snowbound passes where temperatures plummet below Celsius and the Kavir's blazing sands, soaring to 45 degrees Celsius. Avalanches, thirst, and ambushes claim lives, while his Persianization, wearing Persian robes demanding proskynesis, stokes Macedonian discontent, per Curtius Rufus. This pursuit is a crucible of will, strategy, and survival, testing Alexander's dream of a unified empire. Alexander employs lightning-fast tactics, proving his mastery of mobile warfare. No logistics app aids this. Imagine coordinating a global sprint with no backup. No Trello board or Slack channel could keep this chaos in check. Try scheduling Chase Usurper across Hellscape with a dodgy VPN. Splitting his force into 2,000 to 3,000 man units led by Hephaestion, Ptolemy, and Perdiccas, he maximizes speed and flexibility, leaving heavy phalanx and siege gear behind, per Arrian. Night marches dodge desert heat and Bessus's scouts. Local guides, bribed with Persepolis' gold or coerced, navigate treacherous Hindu Kush passes, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander builds temporary forts at oases, like Alexandria and Arachosia, modern Kandahar, securing water and grain. Leading the vanguard astride Bucephalus, he walks with soldiers, sharing their scant rations, per Plutarch, saying, "The strong must bear the burdens of the weak." This inspires loyalty amidst grueling marches. His diplomacy, offering tax exemptions to local tribes, saps Bessus's support, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture pivoting a failing campaign with charisma and gold, turning foes into allies. Be thankful your team-building retreat involves trust falls, not trusting your life to a rope in a sandstorm. Craterus and Coenus, wary of winter marches through Hindu Kush snows, urge delay until spring, citing avalanches and frostbite that kill dozens, per Arrian. The army, exhausted from chasing Darius and crossing Kavir, loses thousands to thirst and disease. They argue Bessus lacks the strength for immediate resistance, and stretched supply lines risk collapse. Macedonian veterans, resentful of Persianization, teeter on rebellion, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander, eyes blazing, rejects pause, declaring, per legend, "A moment's delay is an empire lost." His obsession with speed, branding his invincibility, risks alienating loyalists, foreshadowing the Philotas affair. You stand in a torchlit tent, winds howling, Alexander's resolve unyielding. As snow falls, dream of a leader outracing fate. The pursuit is a gauntlet of peril. The Hindu Kush's 5,000-meter passes, snow-choked and avalanche-prone, cripple movement. Narrow, rocky trails break carts and lame horses, per Arrian. Kavir's scorching days and freezing nights kill with dehydration and hypothermia. Soldiers drink tainted stream water or horse blood, per Curtius Rufus. Bessus's 7,000 to 10,000 Bactrian cavalry stage hit-and-run ambushes in narrow valleys, bleeding Macedonian ranks. Supply lines stretching over 1,000 kilometers falter. Food and water shortages spark despair. Macedonian unrest grows, veterans decrying Persian customs, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture leading a team through a collapsing project, trust fraying, resources gone. No amount of coffee runs or team Zoom calls could rally this crew. Be grateful your worst day means a crashed laptop, not drinking horse blood to survive. You stand on a frozen ridge, soldiers shivering, Alexander unbowed. As winds bite, dream of endurance defying nature's wrath. Alexander triumphs through ruthless ingenuity. Small, independent units under Hephaestion and Ptolemy evade ambushes, while night marches conceal movements, per Arrian. Forts at Bactrian oases secure supplies. Persepolis' 120,000 talents buy loyalty from soldiers and locals, per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander's diplomacy, promising tax relief or governorships, turns tribes against Bessus. Spitamenes and other Bactrian lords, seeing Bessus's weakness, betray him, handing him over near Sogdiana's border in spring 329 BCE, per Plutarch, who notes Alexander's words, "It is better to win hearts than to break them." His 1,000-kilometer chase, relentless despite losses, captures Bessus, ending his rebellion. Picture turning a losing venture into victory with sheer will. Imagine closing a deal by bribing half the room. Be thankful your negotiations involve contracts, not threats of execution. You stand with Alexander, Bessus in chains, winds whispering triumph. As dawn breaks, dream of a king bending empires to his will. Bessus's capture in spring 329 BCE ends his brief reign. No execution video captures this. Imagine a rival's downfall going viral. No TikTok execution reel could top this drama. Try getting that past the content moderators. Alexander orders his death in Persian style. Nose and ears cut, dragged by chariot, then executed, per courteous Rufus. A brutal message to Central Asian tribes and a nod to Persian customs to ease resistance. He secures Bactria, founding Alexandria on the Oxus, modern Ai-Khanum. But Sogdian rebels under Spitamenes launch guerrilla attacks per Arian. Thousands of Macedonians die from exhaustion, disease, or ambushes. Persianization fuels unrest, setting the stage for Philotas's fall, per Plutarch. You stand in Bactria, forts rising, blood-soaking snow. As winds carry cries, dream of a conqueror pressing on, undaunted. The pursuit of Bessus showcases Alexander's strategic brilliance and relentless drive. No saga rivals this, imagine trending across centuries for outwitting nature and foes. His mobile tactics and intelligence turn a weary army into a relentless force, crossing Hindu Kush and deserts to crush a usurper. His Persian-style execution of Bessus wins local respect, cementing his claim as a Achaemenid heir, per Curtius Rufus. Yet the cost, thousands dead, veterans alienated by Persian customs, sows discord, foreshadowing Philotas's trial and Sogdian revolts. His mantra, "A moment's delay is an empire lost," defines him per legend, but his ambition isolates him, a king alone on Bactria's frontier. No LinkedIn post could spin this as team synergy. Be grateful your leadership challenges don't end in beheadings. You linger under Sogdiana's stars, Alexander's gaze fixed eastward, horizon vast. As winds whisper, "Let sleep carry us to farther horizons," dream of fortresses where his legend battles on. As Bessus's severed head marks the end of a traitor in spring 329 BCE, the winds of Sogdiana scream rebellion, whispering of elusive warriors vanishing into mountains and deserts. Tonight we plunge into Alexander the Great's grueling campaign against Sogdian guerrillas, 329 to 327 BCE, in modern Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and northern Afghanistan. Facing relentless nomads, treacherous terrain, and his army's growing mutiny, he battles to secure a fractious empire, forging his legend through adaptability and unrelenting will. You stand in a frozen Sogdian valley, 329 BCE, the Hindu Kush's icy breath stinging your face, the Amudarya's roar echoing through the dark. No wargame captures this chaos. Imagine outsmarting a hacker swarm with a team on the verge of quitting. No Call of Duty level could simulate this mess. Try pitching guerrilla hell. No respawn, no coffee to a game dev. In this campaign, Alexander's genius wrestles with ambushes, starvation, and dissent, his greatness etched in defiance of elusive foes. Be thankful your struggles involve missed deadlines, not dodging arrows while your GPS is a guy who might stab you, as we march into his relentless fight. After executing Bessus, Alexander hopes to pacify Bactria and Sogdiana, but Scythian and Massagetæ tribes, led by Spitamenes, defy him with guerrilla tactics per Arian. Striking supply caravans and vanishing into Hindu Kush peaks or vast deserts, they exploit Sogdiana's rugged terrain, jagged mountains, narrow valleys, and the raging Amu Darya, perfect for hit-and-run warfare, per Curtius Rufus. His 15,000 to 20,000 troops, battered from prior campaigns, face starvation and 9 to 20-degree winters, ill-equipped for the cold, per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander's Persianization, wearing Persian robes, demanding proskynesis, fuels resentment among Macedonians yearning for Pella, threatening rebellion. This campaign, spanning 329–327 BCE, demands new tactics and diplomacy to tame a land that refuses to kneel. You stand on a windswept ridge, ambushes lurking, Alexander's gaze unyielding. As snow falls, dream of a king outwitting shadows. Alexander wields a multi-pronged strategy, adapting to guerrilla warfare with flexibility. No playbook aids this. Imagine pivoting a startup mid-crisis with no budget. No agile sprint could tame this chaos. Try syncing a scrum call with half your team dodging spears. Splitting his army into 1,000 to 2,000 man units under Hephaestion, Ptolemy, Coenus, and Craterus, he prioritizes light cavalry and Agrionia archers for speed, abandoning heavy phalanx per Arian. Night marches counter ambushes, concealing movements from Scythian scouts. He builds fortresses like Alexandria Esket, modern Kujand, along the Sir Daria, anchoring supply lines and Hellenizing the region, per Diodorus Siculus. Marrying Roxana, Oxyartes' daughter, and encouraging generals' unions with locals, he cements alliances. His divide-and-conquer diplomacy, offering gold or autonomy threatening annihilation, splits tribes, per Curtius Rufus. Leading raids astride Bucephalus, he shares soldiers' hardships, declaring, per Arrian, to rule is to endure. Picture rallying a team through a death march with charisma alone. Be thankful your office politics involve passive-aggressive emails, not swords drawn over a king's wardrobe. Craterus and Coenus urge restraint, citing the army's exhaustion after chasing Darius, capturing Bessus, and storming the Sogdian rock per Arian. Thousands have died from disease, starvation, or ambushes, and Sogdiana's terrain, raging rivers, snowbound peaks, thwarts pursuit per Curtius Rufus. Macedonian veterans, alienated by Persianization, grumble per Diodorus Siculus, some muttering, "We follow a king who dreams of being a god." Coenus suggests fortifying Alexandria Escat and waiting for tribes to weaken. Alexander, unyielding, insists control demands relentless pressure, saying per legend, "To yield now is to lose all we have won." His defiance risks mutiny, foreshadowing Philotas's fall. You stand in a torchlit tent, generals' pleas fading, Alexander's will ironclad. As winds howl, dream of a leader defying despair. The campaign is a relentless crucible. Scythian and Massagetae guerrillas avoid pitched battles, striking caravans and outposts, then vanishing per Arian. The Amu Darya's torrents and muddy banks, combined with Hindu Kush peaks and deserts, hinder pursuit. Match 20 Greaser's blizzards kill with frostbite per Curtius Rufus. Supply lines from Persepolis falter, raided or poisoned by tribes, leaving soldiers starving per Diodorus Siculus. Macedonian discontent surges, Persian customs fueling rebellion risks. Picture managing a project with no resources, team in revolt. No amount of Pizza Fridays could fix this morale. Be grateful your worst day means a crashed server, not eating poisoned grain. You stand in a frozen valley, ambushes looming, Alexander unbowed. As snow bites, dream of endurance defying chaos. Alexander triumphs through tactical agility and cunning diplomacy. Small mobile units hunt guerrillas, patrolling valleys and passes per Arian. Fortresses like Alexandria Escat secure supplies. Scorched earth tactics destroy tribal resources, forcing surrender per Curtius Rufus. Gold from Persepolis' 120,000 talents buys loyalty, while Roxana's marriage and others pacify tribes per Diodorus Siculus. Spidamenes' defeat in late 328 BCE, betrayed by Massagetae allies who deliver his head, marks a turning point per Arian. Alexander's frontline presence and feasts with wine and gold quell unrest. His oratory, "Our empire is forged in hardship, not comfort," reignites loyalty per Plutarch. Picture turning a failing venture into victory with sheer will. Imagine closing a deal by bribing a room and dodging assassination. Be thankful your negotiations involve Zoom, not daggers. You stand in a fortified camp, Spidamenes' head at Alexander's feet, winds whispering peace. As dawn breaks, dream of a king taming a wild land. By 327 BCE, Alexander pacifies Sogdiana after 2 brutal years, crushing Scythian and Massagetae revolts per Arian. Alexandria Eshat and other fortresses anchor his rule. Marriages and diplomacy turn foes into allies per Diodorus Siculus. Yet thousands die from exhaustion, disease, or ambushes, and Persianization deepens rifts, foreshadowing Cletus's killing and Opus's mutiny per Plutarch. The victory opens India's path, but exposes Alexander's isolation. You stand in a new city, banners rising, blood drying. As winds carry triumph's echo, dream of a conqueror marching toward destiny. No Instagram victory post could capture this grind. Be grateful your wins don't cost a kingdom's loyalty. The Sogdian guerrilla campaign proves Alexander's mastery of unconventional warfare. No saga rivals this. Imagine trending for outsmarting ghosts in a frozen hell. Shifting from phalanx battles to mobile tactics, he counters guerrillas with agility, building fortresses and leveraging marriages like Roxana's to secure loyalty per Curtius Rufus. Yet the toll, exhausted troops, simmering mutiny, widens his divide with Macedonians per Diodorus Siculus. His cry to rule is to endure defines his resilience per Arian, but his ambition isolates him, a king alone on Asia's edge. No TED Talk could sell this leadership style. Be thankful your toughest day doesn't end with beheading your critics. You linger under Punjab's stars, Alexander's gaze fixed on India, horizon vast. As winds whisper, let sleep carry us to farther horizons. Dream of battles where his legend soars, shadowed by solitude. As Sogdiana's rebellions fade under the weight of Alexander's iron will in 327 BCE, the mystic allure of India, rivers vast, jungles dense, war elephants legendary, beckons a conqueror to new horizons. Tonight we trek through the Hindu Kush into Punjab, modern Pakistan, in Alexander the Great's Indian campaign. 327–326 BCE. Facing treacherous peaks, torrential rains, and defiant tribes, he battles nature and men, his genius tested by ambition's limits and his army's fraying loyalty. You stand on a snow-choked Hindu Kush Pass, 327 BCE. Icy winds biting, the Amu Darya's distant roar mingling with the clatter of hooves. Peaks soar above 5,000 meters, their shadows clawing the starlit sky. No adventure app captures this. Imagine leading a startup through a blizzard with no Wi-Fi, your team plotting a walkout. No reality show could stage this madness. Try selling Conquest, frozen hell, no Starbucks to a network. In this march, Alexander's brilliance clashes with avalanches, ambushes, and mutiny, his greatness carved in defiance of impossible odds. Be thankful your struggles involve missed Zoom calls, not frostbitten feet or dodging spears, while your only map is a bribed local's sketch, as we plunge into his Indian odyssey. From Bactria, after pacifying Sogdiana, Alexander, driven by tales of India's riches and gods, leads 40,000 troops, companion cavalry, phalanx, Agriania archers, across the Hindu Kush into Punjab, per Aryan. Starting in early 327 BCE, the campaign pits him against snowbound passes, 20°C nights, and local tribes like the Aspasians and Assakanoi, masters of guerrilla warfare, per Curtius Rufus. Exhausted from chasing Darius, capturing Bessus, and quelling Sogdian revolts, his army faces starvation and inadequate gear. Narrow, rocky trails and avalanches threaten collapse, while tribes ambush supply lines, per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander's Persianization, donning Persian robes, demanding proskynesis, stokes Macedonian resentment, veterans yearning for Pella, foreshadowing rebellion. This march is a crucible of ambition, testing his dream to surpass Hercules. You stand on a frozen ridge, cliffs looming, Alexander's gaze fixed on India. As winds howl, dream of a king chasing myth. Alexander wields flexible tactics honed in Central Asia, splitting his 40,000 troops into 2,000 to 5,000 man units under Hephaestion, Ptolemy, Perdiccas, and Craterus, prioritizing light cavalry and Agriania archers for mobility, per Aryan. No logistics software aids this. Imagine coordinating a global rollout with no cloud backup. No Jira ticket could track this chaos. Try logging cross Blizzard Mountain, avoid ambush with a dead laptop. Night marches dodge cold and tribal scouts. He builds fortresses like Alexandria in the Caucasus, near Bigram, to secure supplies and Hellenize the region, per Diodorus Siculus. Leading assaults on tribal strongholds like Aornos, he uses catapults and archers for rapid sieges, often climbing cliffs himself, per Curtius Rufus. Sharing soldiers' water and rations, he declares, per Aryan, there is nothing impossible to him who will try. Bribing or threatening locals for intelligence, he divides tribes with gold or fear, per Plutarch, saying, a kingdom is won not only by swords, but by hearts. Picture pivoting a failing venture with grit and gold. Be thankful your team building involves escape rooms, not escaping actual ambushes. Craterus and Coenus warn of exhaustion after Central Asian campaigns, with thousands dead from disease or starvation, per Aryan. Hindu Kush's snowbound, avalanche-prone passes, and guerrilla attacks by Aspasians and Assakanoi risk disaster, per Curtius Rufus. Coenus urges waiting for spring to ease weather and reinforce supplies from Sogdiana. Macedonian veterans, alienated by Persianization, teeter on revolt, per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander, unyielding, insists India's conquest transcends limits, saying, per legend, to pause is to lose the world. His ambition risks mutiny, foreshadowing Hephaestus's rebellion. You stand in a torchlit tent, generals by, please fading, Alexander's resolve ironclad. As snow falls, dream of a leader outracing fate. The march is a brutal gauntlet. Hindu Kush's 5,000-meter passes, choked with snow and lashed by May 20° winds, fell soldiers with frostbite or avalanches, per Aryan. Narrow trails break carts and lame horses. Supply lines from Sogdiana falter, raided by tribes, forcing soldiers to drink tainted water or horse blood, per Curtius Rufus. Aspasian and Assakanoi guerrillas strike and vanish into cliffside strongholds like Aornos, per Diodorus Siculus. Macedonian discontent surges, Persian customs fueling rebellion risks. Picture leading a project with no resources, team in revolt. No energy drink could fuel this grind. Be grateful your worst day means a Wi-Fi outage, not eating your horse to survive. You stand on a frozen cliff, ambushes lurking, Alexander unbowed. As winds bite, dream of courage defying chaos. Alexander triumphs through tactical agility and diplomacy. Mobile units hunt guerrillas, Rapid sieges with catapults capture strongholds like Aornos, Persian. Fortresses such as Alexandria in the Caucasus anchor supplies. He bribes or threatens locals for intelligence, per Curtius Rufus. Negotiating with tribes, offering tax exemptions or autonomy, he divides foes, per Plutarch. Gold from Persepolis' 120,000 talents and feasts quell unrest. His frontline presence inspires loyalty, per Diodorus Siculus. By late 327 BCE, he subdues Aspasians and Asakanoi, opening Punjab's gates. Picture turning a doomed venture into victory with sheer will. Imagine closing a deal by bribing a warlord. Be thankful your negotiations involve contracts, not cliffside sieges. You stand in a new fortress, banners rising, blood drying, as winds whisper triumph, dream of a conqueror marching deeper. By late 327 BCE, Alexander conquers Hindu Kush tribes, securing Punjab's entry with fortresses like Alexandria in the Caucasus, Persian. Aornos' fall showcases his daring, per Curtius Rufus. Yet thousands die from exhaustion, disease, or ambushes. Persianization fuels unrest, foreshadowing Hyphus' mutiny, per Plutarch. The victory paves the way for Hydaspes, but exposes Alexander's isolation. You stand in Punjab, jungles looming, blood-soaking soil. As winds carry victory's echo, dream of a king pressing toward destiny. No LinkedIn post could hype this win. Be grateful your victories don't cost an army's soul. The Hindu Kush march proves Alexander's strategic brilliance, transforming an exhausted army into a relentless force, per Arrian. Fortresses and diplomacy secure his path, per Diodorus Siculus. But the toll, dead soldiers, growing dissent, widens his divide with Macedonians, per Curtius Rufus. His cry, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try," defines his ambition, per Plutarch, but isolates him, a king alone on India's edge. No TED Talk could spin this as team growth. Be thankful your leadership doesn't spark a mutiny. You linger under Punjab's stars, Alexander's gaze fixed on Hydaspes, the horizon vast. As winds whisper, "Let sleep carry us to farther horizons," dream of battles where his legend soars, shadowed by solitude. With Punjab's tribes subdued in 327 BCE, the swollen rivers and thundering war elephants of India loom as a new test for a conqueror who has felled empires. Tonight, we plunge into Alexander the Great's clash at the Hydaspes River, modern Jhelum, Pakistan, in 326 BCE, facing King Porus and his fearsome army. Amid monsoon deluges, treacherous mud, and towering beasts, Alexander battles nature, a formidable foe, and his army's waning loyalty, forging his legend through audacity and genius. You stand on the rain-lashed banks of the Hydaspes, 326 BCE, thunder rumbling, the river's roar drowning out the clatter of sodden armor. Monsoon mud clings to boots, and the shadow of war elephants, living fortresses, looms across the water. No war game captures this chaos. Imagine leading a startup through a flood with no Wi-Fi, your team ready to quit. No blockbuster CGI could fake this insanity. Try pitching Epic Battle, Monsoon Mayhem Elephant Edition to a studio. In this clash, Alexander's brilliance defies storms, beasts, and mutiny, his greatness etched in defiance of impossible odds. Be thankful your struggles involve missed deadlines, not dodging 3-ton elephants while your only umbrella is a soggy cloak, as we dive into his epic stand. After conquering Hindu Kush tribes, Alexander faces King Porus of Porava at the Hydaspes in 326 BCE, commanding 30,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry, 300 chariots, and 200 war elephants. 3-meter titans that crush phalanxes and terrify horses, per Arrian. Leading 40,000 troops from Punjab, Alexander selects 15,000 elites, 5,000 companion cavalry, 7,000 hypaspists and light phalanx, 3,000 Agriania archers for the assault, per Curtius Rufus. Monsoon rains swell the river, its currents deadly, and muddy banks bog down troops. Exhausted from 8 years of campaigns across Persia and Central Asia, his army falters. Shaken by elephants and Persianization, Alexander's Persian robes and proskynesis demands fuel unrest, per Diodorus Siculus. Porus, nearly 2 meters tall, deploys elephants up front, infantry centrally, and cavalry and chariots on flanks, a formidable wall, per Arrian. Alexander, undaunted, declares per legend, Alexander must defeat his enemies openly and honestly, aiming for a victory to rival myth. You stand in the downpour, elephants roaring, Alexander's gaze blazing. As thunder rolls, dream of a king defying gods. Alexander's strategy is a masterstroke of deception and daring. crossing the Hydaspes at night despite monsoon floods per Arian. No logistics app aids this. Imagine coordinating a river assault with no GPS. No project management tool could wrangle this mess. Try logging cross-raging river dodge elephants with a waterlogged tablet. He selects 15,000 elites using inflated cowhide rafts and small boats, masked by rain's din, per Curtius Rufus. False campfires and Craterus's feigned attack downstream trick Porus into splitting his forces, per Plutarch. Alexander's main force crosses 27 kilometers upstream, landing to strike Porus's left flank. Leading astride Bucephalus, soaked and muddied, he targets elephants with Agriania archers firing at their eyes, and phalanxes jabbing sarissas at their legs, per Diodorus Siculus. His cry, "Victory lies in the dark," per Plutarch, ignites resolve. Picture pivoting a failing venture in a storm, outsmarting a giant. Be thankful your crunch time involves coffee runs, not rafting a flood with a sword in hand. Craterus and Ptolemy warn of disaster, citing the river's torrents and slippery rafts risking drownings, per Arrian. Porus's 200 elephants could shatter the phalanx, weakened from Central Asia, and muddy terrain slows cavalry, with only 15,000 against Porus's 30,000, per Curtius Rufus. Craterus urges waiting for clearer skies or negotiating with Porus, noting the army's dread of elephants and growing unrest over Persianization, per Diodorus Siculus. Alexander eyes fierce, rejects delay, insisting a bold victory cements his legend, saying per legend, "If we stop now, the world will forget us." His ambition risks mutiny, foreshadowing Hyphas's rebellion. You stand in a rain-soaked tent, generals' pleas drowned by thunder, Alexander's will unyielding. As floods rage, dream of a leader outracing fate. The battle is a brutal crucible. Monsoon floods sweep away rafts, drowning soldiers. Muddy banks mire cavalry and phalanx, per Arrian. Elephants crush hundreds, their roars panicking horses, per Curtius Rufus. Porus's larger force and terrain mastery threaten defeat, and Macedonian morale wavers, veterans resenting Persian customs and yearning for Pella, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture leading a project through a deluge, team in revolt. No energy drink could fuel this fight. Be grateful your worst day means a crashed laptop, not wrestling a river while elephants charge. You stand in the mud, beasts looming, Alexander unbowed. As rain stings, dream of courage defying chaos. Alexander triumphs through cunning and valor. His night crossing catches Porus off guard. Craterus's feint disrupts enemy lines, per Arrian. Archers blind elephants, phalanxes cripple them, and cavalry shatters Porus's left flank, per Curtius Rufus. After hours of brutal fighting, Porus's chariots bog in mud, and wounded elephants stampede, crushing their own ranks, per Plutarch. Alexander, nearly killed by an elephant but saved by Hephaestion, leads the charge, per Diodorus Siculus. Capturing Porus, he spares the towering king, impressed by his defiance. "Treat me as a king," Porus demands, per Arrian. Alexander grants him expanded lands, making him an ally, a political masterstroke to pacify Punjab, per Curtius Rufus. Picture turning a rival into a partner with sheer will. Imagine closing a deal by sparing a CEO. Be thankful your negotiations involve boardrooms, not battlefields. You stand on the bloodied bank, Porus kneeling, winds whispering peace. As dawn breaks, dream of a king turning foes to friends. The Hydaspes victory in 326 BCE costs 1,000 Macedonian lives against Porus's 12,000, with most elephants killed or fled, per Arrian. Alexander founds Nicaea and Bucephala, honoring his fallen horse, securing Punjab, per Curtius Rufus. Porus's alliance eases local resistance, but the army's exhaustion and resentment deepen, foreshadowing Hyphasis's mutiny, per Plutarch. You stand in a new city, banners rising, mud drying. As winds carry triumph's echo, dream of a conqueror pressing on. No Instagram reel could capture this grind. Be grateful your wins don't cost a horse's life. The Hydaspes showcases Alexander's tactical genius, overcoming floods, elephants, and odds with deception and coordination, per Arrian. Sparing Porus blends mercy with strategy, winning allies, per Curtius Rufus. Yet the toll, dead soldiers, growing dissent, widens his rift with Macedonians, per Diodorus Siculus. His cry, Alexander must defeat his enemies openly and honestly, defines his pride, per legend, but isolates him, a king alone on India's edge. No TED Talk could sell this leadership. Be thankful your toughest day doesn't end with facing down a 3-ton beast. You linger under Hyphasis's stars, Alexander's gaze fixed eastward, horizon vast. As winds whisper, let sleep carry us to farther horizons. Dream of battles where his legend soars, shadowed by solitude. With Punjab's rivers conquered and Porus's elephants vanquished in 326 BCE, Alexander the Great's gaze turns eastward to the fabled Ganges, a land of mythic kingdoms and endless glory. But at the Hyphasis River, modern B's India, his ambition crashes against the will of his weary army. Tonight, we stand at the edge of empire, summer 326 BCE, where Alexander faces not enemies, but his own men's defiance, a rebellion born of exhaustion and homesickness, testing the limits of a conqueror's dream. You stand in a monsoon-soaked jungle by the Hyphasis, 326 BCE, rain hammering your cloak, the river's roar mingling with the murmurs of mutinous soldiers. No strategy game captures this standoff. Imagine leading a team that's just voted to quit mid-project. No negotiation. No corporate retreat could fix this vibe. Try pitching mutiny in the mud, no exit strategy to a reality TV producer. In this moment, Alexander's genius grapples with human limits, his greatness strained by loyalty's breaking point. Be thankful your challenges involve office drama, not facing down a mob of spear-wielding veterans who'd rather go home than chase your PowerPoint dreams, as we delve into his final Indian stand. After the Hydaspes' triumph, Alexander, believing himself Zeus's son, aims for the Ganges, rumored to hold kingdoms dwarfing Persia, with armies of 200,000 infantry, 20,000 cavalry, and 2,000 war elephants per Aryan. His 30,000, 40,000 strong army, battered from Persia, Central Asia, and Hydaspes, is exhausted, plagued by malaria in sodden jungles and monsoon floods, per Curtius Rufus. 8 years from Pella, Macedonian veterans yearn for home, resenting Alexander's Persianization, his Persian robes, proskynesis demands, and local appointments, per Diodorus Siculus. At the Hyphasis, they refuse to march further, their passive rebellion a silent roar against a king they now see as alien, per Plutarch. This clash, in summer 326 BCE, marks the first time Alexander's will bends before his men's. You stand in the rain-soaked camp, soldiers glaring, Alexander's gaze burning. As thunder rolls, dream of a king facing his own mortality. Alexander, unyielding, orders them eastward, rallying his men with fiery oratory under Hyphasis's dripping trees, per Plutarch. We have conquered the world. Let us not stop until we reach its end. No motivational poster aids this. Imagine inspiring a team with no coffee breaks. No LinkedIn pep talk could spark this fire. Try hyping Conquer the Ganges or Bust to a crew dreaming of Netflix and chill. He surveys the terrain, preparing rafts to cross the swollen river, planning a new campaign per Aryan. When silence meets his words, he locks himself in his tent for 3 days, hoping his sulking will sway them, per Curtius Rufus. Picture a CEO locking their office door after a failed pitch, banking on drama to win. Be thankful your team's pushback involves Slack complaints, not a camp full of armed grumblers. Coenus, a trusted general, speaks for the army, his loyalty tempered by candor per Aryan. Rain, plague, and tales of Indian hordes, let us go home. He cites 8 years of losses, tens of thousands dead from exhaustion, disease, or battles, and the Ganges' rumored might. 200,000 infantry, 20,000 cavalry, 2,000 elephants, per Curtius Rufus. Persianization fuels their alienation. Veterans feel they fight for a foreign empire, not Macedonia, per Diodorus Siculus. Coenus's defiance, backed by the army's silence, wounds Alexander's pride, who sees betrayal in their refusal, fearing oblivion if his conquest halts, per Plutarch. You stand in the muddy camp, Coenus's voice steady, Alexander's face darkening. As rain falls, dream of a leader facing rebellion. The standoff is a crucible of limits. The army's exhaustion, physical from malaria and marches, emotional from homesickness, crushes morale, per Plutarch's note. We follow a king who dreams of being a god, but we are only men. Their passive mutiny, refusing to move, threatens Alexander's authority, per Aryan. Monsoon-soaked jungles and rumors of Ganges' armies paralyze their will, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander fears a halted campaign, dims his legend, a mortal wound to a self-styled god, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture a project collapsing as your team walks out. No team-building retreat could mend this rift. Be grateful your worst mutiny is a missed deadline, not a camp refusing to budge. You stand in the downpour, soldiers unmoving, Alexander alone. As thunder cracks, dream of ambition meeting its match. Alexander pivots with cunning, ordering a sacrificial rite to read divine omens per Arian. When priests report unfavorable signs, he declares he bows to the gods, not his men, ordering a retreat through the Gedrosian desert per Curtius Rufus. This political slight saves face, blaming fate over failure per Plutarch. He distributes Persepolis's gold and hosts feasts to ease tensions, appointing loyal generals to oversee the march per Diodorus Siculus. His flexibility preserves authority, but the Gedrosian trek looms as a brutal test. Picture salvaging a failed venture by spinning a narrative. Imagine dodging a boardroom coup by blaming the stars. Be thankful your pivots involve spreadsheets, not desert death marches. You stand as the camp turns westward, rain easing, Alexander resolute. As winds whisper, dream of a king bending without breaking. The Hephaestus rebellion in 326 BCE halts Alexander's Indian dream, sparing a Ganges campaign but costing thousands in the Gedrosian march. Starvation, disease, and heat felling soldiers per Arian. Consolidating Punjab with Porus's alliance and cities like Nicaea, Alexander avoids outright mutiny per Curtius Rufus. Yet resentment deepens, foreshadowing Opus's revolt per Plutarch. You stand on the riverbank, rafts abandoned, blood mixing with mud. As winds carry retreats echo, dream of a conqueror turning back. No ex-post could hype this U-turn. Be grateful your setbacks don't cost an army's lives. The Hephaestus marks Alexander's human limits, his ambition checked by collective will per Arian. His Hydaspes triumph showcased tactical genius, but here, oratory fails per Curtius Rufus. His divine ruse retreat reveals political acumen, yet Gedrosia's toll and growing dissent isolate him per Diodorus Siculus. His cry, "We have conquered the world, let us not stop until we reach its end," burns with ambition per Plutarch, but reveals a king alone, chasing divinity. No motivational seminar could spin this loss. Be thankful your failures don't echo across millennia. You linger under Gedrosia's stars, Alexander's gaze westward, horizon vast. As winds whisper, let sleep carry us to farther horizons, dream of a legend tested by mortality's weight. As the Hephaestus rebellion forces Alexander's retreat from India's edge in 326 BCE, the scorching sands of Gedrosia beckon, a merciless crucible where ambition battles nature itself. Tonight, we stagger through the Gedrosian desert, modern Makran, Pakistan, and southwest Afghanistan in 325 BCE, where Alexander the Great leads his battered army through a hellscape of heat and thirst. Facing relentless sun, dwindling supplies, and his men's fading loyalty, he forges a tragic legend of defiance and hubris. Imagine trudging through the Gedrosian desert, red sands blazing like a furnace, howling winds carrying the breath of death, each step a duel with survival. This is no battlefield of spears or cavalry, but a theater of will, where Alexander challenges nature to prove nothing can stop him. No survival app could map this nightmare. Try pitching Desert Death March. No Wi-Fi, no hope to a streaming service. Under a ghostly moon, let this tale of triumph and tragedy draw you into Alexander's saga, where courage intertwines with arrogance, testing human limits and his army's devotion. Be thankful your struggles involve low battery alerts, not scrounging for water, while dodging sandstorms and praying your camel doesn't collapse, as we plunge into his doomed march. Post-Hydaspes and Hephaestus, Alexander abandons his Ganges dream, leading 60,000 phalanx infantry, companion cavalry, and a civilian train of women, children, merchants, from Punjab back to Persia's heart, per Arian. At a crossroads, he chooses Gedrosia's uncharted sands over safer routes by sea, with Nearchus's fleet, or through Carmania, per Curtius Rufus. His generals, Craterus and Hephaestion, plead against it. Gedrosia is a death trap, no water, no food, and our army's broken after 8 years, per Diodorus Siculus. They urge splitting forces, sending some with Nearchus, but Alexander, driven by a thirst for immortal glory, declares, per legend, "I would rather live a short life of glory than a long one of obscurity." His choice, to lead the main force through the desert, aims to explore a new route and support Nearchus's fleet, but it reeks of hubris, prioritizing legend over lives, per Plutarch. You stand in the searing dusk, sands stretching endless, Alexander's gaze defiant. As winds burn, dream of a king chasing eternity. Gedrosia's desert is unforgiving. Daytime heat hits 50 degrees Celsius, turning sands to fire. Nights freeze, chilling weakened soldiers per Arian. Oases, hundreds of kilometers apart, are dry or guarded by hostile Makran tribes who raid for dwindling supplies per Curtius Rufus. The 700 to 1,000 kilometer trek from the Indus to Pura takes 60 to 80 days, through sinking sands, jagged rocks, and sudden sandstorms that bury men alive, per Diodorus Siculus. Flash floods from dry ravines sweep away tents, horses, and civilians, especially women and children, per Plutarch. Alexander sends scouts to find water, but sparse reports fail, forcing soldiers to drink mud or animal blood, per Curtius Rufus. Beasts of burden die, abandoning baggage. Malaria from the Indus kills more, per Arrian. Some 30,000, 45,000, 50 to 75% of the force, perish from starvation, thirst, exhaustion, or disease, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture leading a team through a collapsing venture, no resources left. No energy drink could fuel this slog. Be grateful your worst day means a missed Uber, not sipping camel blood to survive. Alexander's leadership shines amid despair. He walks with his men, refusing privileges, and pours his water ration into the sand, saying, per Plutarch, "My men's suffering is my own." No corporate motivational poster could match that move. Try tweeting shared misery equals leadership from a desert with no signal. He slaughters horses and camels for meat, sends scouts for oases, and negotiates with Makran tribes despite their hostility, per Curtius Rufus. Punishing deserters, but rewarding waterfinders, he maintains discipline, per Arrian. His oratory, recalling Hindu Kush triumphs and divine rituals, bolster fading morale, though death's toll mutes their effect, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture rallying a broken team with sheer charisma. Be thankful your pep talks involve PowerPoint, not pleading for loyalty amid corpses. Craterus and Hephaestion warn of annihilation, citing the army's exhaustion and civilian vulnerability, per Arrian. They push for the sea route, or Carmania's safer paths, but Alexander's insistence on a unified march risks all, per Curtius Rufus. Makran raids, flash floods, and sandstorms bury hope. Soldiers' resentment of Persianization, Alexander's Persian garb and proskynesis, fuels mutiny risks, per Diodorus Siculus. You stand in a sand-swept camp, generals' pleas lost in the wind, Alexander unbowed. As heat sears, dream of a leader defying death itself. Reaching Pura, only 15,000 survive, ragged and starved, per Arrian. Alexander hosts feasts in Carmania to lift spirits, but the loss scars his army, per Curtius Rufus. No new lands are won. The march yields maritime data for Nearchus's fleet, but its cost, lives, and loyalty exposes Alexander's miscalculation, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture salvaging a failed project with a hollow party. No company happy hour could mask this disaster. Be grateful your flops don't bury half your team. You stand in Pura, survivors gaunt, winds whispering loss. As moonlight fades, dream of a king unyielding yet broken. The Gedrosian march tests Alexander's ambition to its breaking point. It cements his myth as a leader who shares hardship, defying nature's wrath, per Plutarch. Yet, the staggering loss, 30,000 to 45,000 dead, reveals reckless pride, ignoring generals' warnings for glory's sake, per Arrian. Resentment festers, foreshadowing Opus's revolt, Curtius Rufus. His cry, "I would rather live a short life of glory than a long one of obscurity," burns bright per legend, but isolates him, a king alone on a bloodied path. No LinkedIn post could spin this tragedy as growth. Be thankful your risks don't cost an army's soul. You linger under Carmania's stars, Alexander's gaze westward, horizon vast. As winds whisper, let sleep carry us to farther horizons. Dream of a legend forged in sand and sorrow. Close your eyes and picture a Sogdian campfire, 328 BCE, its flickering light dancing on Alexander the Great's face, a beacon of inspiration and a storm of inner conflict. Tonight, we explore his complex soul, from battlefield valor to wine-soaked tragedy, where greatness entwines with flaws. No therapy app could unpack this drama. Try selling Conqueror's chaos therapy needed to a wellness startup. Relax, let the cold wind and drunken laughter guide us into the heart of a man who held the world yet wrestled himself. Be thankful your struggles involve bad Wi-Fi, not stabbing your best friend in a drunken rage, as we unravel Alexander's duality. Alexander's courage defines him, leading charges from Granicus, 334 BCE, to Hydaspes, 326 BCE, facing arrows, swords, and elephants head-on, per Arrian. At Issus, 333 BCE, he spears through Persian lines, nearly dying but routing Darius III, per Curtius Rufus. At the Sogdian Rock, 328 BCE, He climbs cliffs at night, inspiring 300 men to defy the impossible, per Plutarch. Like his hero Achilles, he lives for glory, saying, per legend, "I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion." Sharing rations and risks, he binds soldiers to him, their devotion carrying them through Gedrosia's hell, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture a leader whose presence electrifies a team. No TED Talk could rival this charisma. Be grateful your leadership doesn't demand dodging spears to prove a point. Yet, beneath the brilliance lies a tempest of impulse, fueled by wine. The killing of Cleitus the Black in 328 BCE at Samarkand is his darkest stain, per Arrian. Cleitus, a loyal general who saved Alexander at Granicus, criticizes his Persianization, proskynesis, Persian garb, accusing him of forgetting Macedonia's roots, per Curtius Rufus. Enraged, Alexander impales him with a spear, a reckless act of fury, per Plutarch. This reveals a man ruled by passion when drunk, his genius shadowed by volatility. Picture a boardroom blow-up costing a friend's life. No HR meeting could fix this mess. Be thankful your outbursts involve slamming a laptop, not a spear through a colleague. His remorse is profound, clutching Cleitus's body, fasting, weeping, begging divine forgiveness, per Arrian. This vulnerability, cradling a friend's corpse, crying for days, shows a heart haunted by guilt, not a cold tyrant, per Plutarch. Yet he doesn't curb his drinking. Burning Persepolis 330 BCE and executing Philotas and Parmenion on shaky treason charges reflect unchecked impulses, per Curtius Rufus. His duality, a godlike leader, a flawed mortal, defines his tragedy. Picture a CEO whose brilliance wins empires but whose temper burns bridges. No mindfulness app could tame this chaos. Be grateful your flaws don't spark executions. Generals try to stop the Cleitus clash, but wine and pride deafen Alexander, per Arrian. Macedonian resentment of Persianization festers, the killing widening rifts, per Curtius Rufus. He mends it with a grand funeral for Cleitus and oratory, but scars linger, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture navigating a team revolt after a fatal mistake. No team-building retreat could heal this wound. Be thankful your conflicts don't end in funerals. You stand by the Sogdian fire, Alexander's eyes haunted, winds carrying grief. As embers fade, dream of a king both divine and doomed. The Cleitus killing marks a turning point, costing a loyal general and shaking morale, per Arrian. Alexander's public grief binds soldiers closer, his humanity deepening their loyalty, per Plutarch. Yet unchecked drinking and impulsiveness, Persepolis Philotas, fuel debates over his stability, per Curtius Rufus. His courage makes him a legend, but his flaws cost lives, per Diodorus Siculus. You linger by the dying fire, Alexander's shadow vast, horizon dark. No ex-post could gloss this tragedy. Be grateful your mistakes don't echo through history. Alexander's duality cements his complex legacy. His valor, leading charges, sharing hardship, casts him as Achilles reborn, inspiring devotion, per Arrian. His cry, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try," echoes through his triumphs, per Plutarch. Yet his wine-fueled impulses, Cleitus's death, rash executions, reveal a mortal prone to ruin, per Curtius Rufus. His greatness lies in inspiring empires, but his tragedies, born of unchecked passion, scar his reign, per Diodorus Siculus. No self-help guru could fix this soul. Be thankful your flaws don't burn cities. These battles carve Alexander's name into history, his words ringing, "Nothing is impossible." But at what cost? Let sleep carry us to Babylon's palaces, where his fate awaits. Beneath Babylon's starlit sky in 324 BCE, the flickering campfires cast shadows on a conqueror who dreams not just of victories, but of a world united. Tonight, we delve into Alexander the Great's historic decisions, his fusion of East and West and the founding of over 20 Alexandria cities, revealing a visionary whose ambition reshaped empires but fractured loyalties. His marriages and friendships weave a tapestry of love, strategy, and tragedy, illuminating a man both divine and deeply human. Imagine standing under Babylon's stars, firelight dancing on Alexander's face, his eyes alight with dreams of a boundless empire. This isn't just a saga of battles, but of a man daring to blend East and West, his name etched in cities that outlive him. No history podcast could capture this vision. Try pitching Empire of Unity, no borders, just drama, to a streaming platform. His fusion policy and city building reveal strategic genius, yet spark rebellion among his men, exposing the cost of greatness. Be thankful your ambitions involve boardroom pitches. not convincing an army to bow like Persians or settle in deserts far from home, as we explore his transformative legacy. After toppling the Achaemenid Empire in 330 BCE, Alexander envisions a unified empire blending Greek, Persian, and diverse cultures per Aryan. His fusion policy, marrying Macedonian generals to Persian nobility, adopting Persian customs, and founding Alexandria cities, aims to forge a multicultural realm per Curtius Rufus. At Susa in 324 BCE, he orchestrates a mass wedding, uniting 80 to 90 generals, including Ptolemy and Seleucus, with Persian and Sogdian women, per Plutarch. Alexander weds Statera, daughter of Darius III, and Parysatis, daughter of Artaxerxes III, while Hephaestion marries Statera's sister, Drypetis, per Diodorus Siculus. He weds Roxana of Sogdiana in 328 BCE, securing tribal alliances per Arrian. These marriages, blending love and strategy, stabilize regions like Sogdiana and India, where sparing Porus post-Hydaspes 326 BCE wins a loyal ally, per Curtius Rufus. Picture a CEO merging rival firms through strategic weddings. No merger deal could match this drama. Be grateful your alliances involve contracts, not altar vows. Alexander adopts Persian royal attire, flowing robes, silk sashes, diadems, and appoints Persians like Mazias as Babylon's satrap, signaling he's the Achaemenid heir, per Plutarch. His push for proskinesis, a Persian ritual of bowing, backfires in 327 BCE at Bactria, when Callisthenes denounces it as degrading to Greeks, sparking tensions per Arrian. The policy alienates Macedonians, proud of their heritage, culminating in the Opis Mutiny, 324 BCE, where soldiers mock Alexander's Persian recruits, the 30,000 Epigoni trained as phalanxes, per Curtius Rufus. His cry, "I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep, I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion," per legend, underscores his leadership. But his vision phrase loyalty, per Diodorus Siculus. You stand in Susa's golden halls, weddings unfolding, Macedonian grumbles rising, as torches flicker, dream of a king bridging worlds. Alexander's founding of over 20 Alexandria cities, from Egypt to Central Asia, anchors his empire, blending Greek urban design with local elements, per Plutarch. Alexandria in Egypt, 331 BCE, near the Nile's mouth, becomes a cultural beacon, its library drawing Euclid and Archimedes, per Arrian. Alexandria Eschat, 329 BCE, modern Kujand, guards Sogdiana's frontier, while Ariana and Oxus cities secure trade routes, per Curtius Rufus. These hubs, with Greek theaters and local temples, foster cultural exchange, laying roots for Hellenization, per Diodorus Siculus. Yet, Macedonian settlers resent distant postings, fueling unrest, per Plutarch. Many cities falter post-323 BCE, but Alexandria in Egypt thrives, a testament to his foresight. Picture planning global cities with no urban software. No city planner could dream this big. Be grateful your projects don't spark mutinies over homesickness. The fusion policy in Alexandria's showcase Alexander's genius, uniting disparate peoples per Arrian. Yet, his push for Persian customs and distant settlements deepens rifts, per Curtius Rufus. His vision births Hellenization, shaping Seleucid and Ptolemaic realms, but at the cost of Macedonian loyalty, per Diodorus Siculus. You stand under Babylon's stars, cities rising, tensions simmering. No startup pitch could sell this vision. Be thankful your dreams don't fracture your team. As winds whisper, dream of a king whose legacy spans continents but splits hearts. Picture the shimmering Sogdian moonlight or Susa's golden glow, where Alexander binds hearts to empires. His marriages to Roxana, Statera II, and Parysatis, and his bond with Hephaestion blend passion, politics, and loyalty, crafting a legacy both romantic and ruthless. No rom-com could script this saga. Try selling Love and Conquest Empire Edition to a studio. These ties reveal a king who wields love as strategy, yet pays a tragic price. Be thankful your relationships involve dating apps, not marrying princesses to pacify tribes, or mourning a friend with a 10,000 talent funeral as we trace his heart's path. In 327 BCE, under Sogdian stars, Alexander weds Roxana, a Bactrian princess, after capturing her father Oxyartes' fortress, per Arrian. This union, sparked by her beauty and cemented by strategy, quells Sogdian resistance, securing Central Asia before India, per Curtius Rufus. Roxana, his constant companion, bears Alexander IV post-23 BCE, a doomed heir, per Plutarch. At Susa in 324 BCE, he weds Statera II and Parysatis, binding himself to Persia's royal line, while 80 generals and 10,000 soldiers marry local women, per Diodorus Siculus. These mass weddings, funded with gold and land, aim to forge a Greco-Persian elite, but rile Macedonians, per Arrian. Picture a diplomat sealing peace with vows. No wedding planner could stage this. Be grateful your nuptials don't spark a cultural revolt. His friendship with Hephaestion, his childhood confidant, rivals epic bonds like Achilles and Patroclus, per Plutarch. Hephaestion, chiliarch and trusted general, shares every campaign, per Arrian. His death in 324 BCE at Ecbatana shatters Alexander, who spends 10,000 talents on a lavish funeral, orders empire-wide mourning, and seeks his deification, per Curtius Rufus. Alexander's grief, fasting, weeping beside the body, reveals a vulnerable heart, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture losing your closest ally mid-project. No eulogy could match this loss. Be thankful your grief doesn't bankrupt an empire. These bonds, Roxana's love, Susa's alliances, Hephaestion's loyalty, weave Alexander's dream of unity, per Arrian. Yet, they deepen Macedonian resentment, fueling Opus's mutiny, per Curtius Rufus. His genius lies in merging hearts with strategy, but his hubris blinds him to his men's pride, per Plutarch. You stand in Susa's glow, vows echoing, grief lingering. No love story could rival this stakes. Be grateful your bonds don't cost a kingdom's trust. As moonlight fades, dream of a king whose heart shaped an empire. In Susa's golden halls in 324 BCE, Alexander stands among 80 Macedonian generals, each clasping a Persian or Sogdian bride, in a dazzling ritual of unity. This isn't just a wedding, but a bold symbol of his east-west fusion, per Arrian. No event planner could orchestrate this. Try pitching mass wedding, empire unifier to a venue. It cements his vision but ignites Macedonian ire, revealing the rift between dream and reality. Be thankful your team building involves retreats, not forcing marriages that spark mutinies, as we witness this historic spectacle. The Susa weddings, with Alexander marrying Statera and Parysatis, and Hephaestion taking Drypetus, unite 80 to 90 generals and 10,000 soldiers with local women, funded by gold and land, per Plutarch. Held in Persian style, it signals Alexander's Achaemenid legitimacy, per Curtius Rufus. It fosters Hellenization, birthing a hybrid elite, but Macedonians, scorning Persian ties, rebel at Opus, mocking the Epigoni, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture a corporate merger alienating your core team. No unity event could match this fallout. Be grateful your initiatives don't end in executions. You stand amid Susa's splendor, vows clashing with grumbles. As torches blaze, dream of a king uniting worlds at a cost. Under a Greek moon, Alexander's shadow looms, a charismatic, impulsive, merciful, ruthless king, obsessed with eternal fame. No biopic could capture this complexity. Try selling conqueror's contradictions to a director. His courage inspires, his temper destroys, his vision unites, his hubris divides. Be thankful your flaws involve missed emails, not burning cities or killing friends in a drunken rage as we unravel his soul. His charisma binds men, leading charges at Gaugamela, 331 BCE, or Hydaspes, 326 BCE, echoing Achilles, per Arrian. His cry, "I would rather live a short life of glory than a long one of obscurity," fuels devotion, per Plutarch. Yet, his impulsiveness, killing Cletus, 328 BCE, in a drunken rage, reveals a temper that wounds loyalty, per Curtius Rufus. His mercy spares Porus, forging alliances, while his ruthlessness raises Tyre, 332 BCE, and executes Philotas, 330 BCE, without proof, per Diodorus Siculus. His obsession with fame, scaled by Siwa's oracle or Gedrosia's sands, drives him to defy gods, but isolates him, per Arrian. Picture a leader whose brilliance blinds him to his team's breaking point. No self-help book could tame this fire. Be grateful your temper doesn't torch an empire. His contradictions, courage and cruelty, vision and volatility, craft a legacy both glorious and tragic, per Plutarch. His words, "to the strongest," uttered dying in 23 BCE, echo his belief in might, per Diodorus Siculus. You stand under the Greek moon, his shadow vast, horizon dark. No ex-post could capture this soul. Be grateful your legacy doesn't balance glory with grief. Let sleep carry us to Babylon's palaces where Alexander's fate awaits, a king both divine and doomed. In Babylon's torchlit palace, June 323 BCE, shadows flicker on Alexander the Great's pale face as he breathes his last at 32, leaving an empire stretching from Greece to India in chaos. His cryptic final words, "to the strongest," echo like a tragic prophecy, igniting a firestorm of succession wars. Tonight, we unravel the mystery of his death: poison, malaria, or the toll of reckless drinking, and the eternal legacy of a man whose ambition reshaped the world, but could not outrun fate. Imagine standing in Babylon's gilded halls, torchlight dim, Alexander's labored breaths fading. His empire, forged through relentless campaigns, teeters as his voice whispers, "To the strongest." No true crime podcast could unravel this mystery. Try pitching Death of a Conqueror Whodunit to a network. His death, shrouded in speculation, ends a legend and shatters a dream of unity. Be thankful your setbacks involve missed meetings, not a collapsing empire or a fatal cup of wine, as we probe the enigma of his final days and enduring impact. After campaigns from Persia to Gedrosia's brutal sands, 325 BCE, Alexander returns to Babylon, planning Arabian and Western conquests per Arian. Worn by wounds, relentless marches, and heavy drinking, his health falters, per Plutarch. In May-June 323 BCE, after feasting at Medius's home, he downs the Cup of Hercules, a massive wine vessel tied to his mythic ancestor, then falls into a fever, per Phippus. For 10 to 12 days, fever ravages him, silencing his voice, paralyzing his body, until he slips into a coma, dying on June 10 or 11 in Nebuchadnezzar II's palace, per Curtius Rufus. Picture a CEO collapsing mid-pitch after a reckless all-nighter. No health app could track this downfall. Be grateful your binges involve coffee, not a hero's chalice. His death's cause remains a historical enigma. Some, like Diodorus Siculus, hint at poison, arsenic, or strychnine by disgruntled generals like Antipater or Cassander, fueled by grudges over Persianization, or executions like Philotas, 330 BCE, per Curtius Rufus. Yet the prolonged fever doesn't align with acute poisoning, per modern analysis. Scholars citing Babylon's swampy environs and Alexander's Indus malaria, 326 BCE, favor diseases like malaria or West Nile fever, with symptoms matching his decline: fever, weakness, coma, per a 2003 The Lancet study. His drinking, exemplified by the Cup of Hercules, likely weakened him, exacerbating illness, per Phippus. The cup, symbolizing Hercules' strength, mirrors Alexander's reckless pursuit of glory, per Plutarch. Picture a fatal toast sealing a startup's doom. No detox could save this soul. Be thankful your vices don't invite fevered collapse. In his final hours, generals ask who inherits his empire. His whisper, "To the strongest," Christos, per Diodorus Siculus, sparks chaos, true to his belief in might, but leaves no clear heir. Roxana, pregnant with Alexander IV and his half-brother Ardaeus, Philip III, mentally impaired, cannot hold the empire, per Arian. The Diadochi, Ptolemy, Seleucus, Antigonus, Cassander, plunge into wars, 323 to 281 BCE, splintering the empire into Hellenistic kingdoms, per Curtius Rufus. Picture a company imploding without a succession plan. No boardroom drama could match this fallout. Be grateful your exits don't spark decades of strife. You stand by Alexander's bedside, generals poised, empire unraveling. As torches dim, dream of a king whose words ignite chaos. The Cup of Hercules looms large, a final act of bravado, per Phippus. Drinking deeply as he did before Cletus's killing, 328 BCE, Alexander's impulsiveness, tied to his credo, "I would rather live a short life of glory than a long one of obscurity," likely hastened his end, per Plutarch. His death, whether by poison, disease, or drink, marks the collapse of his unified empire, per Diodorus Siculus. You linger in Babylon's halls, the cup empty, a king gone. No ex-post could capture this tragedy. Be grateful your risks don't end in a fevered grave. As moonlight fades, dream of a legend extinguished too soon. Under Babylon's starry sky, Alexander's shadow lingers like a meteor. Brief but brilliant, his legacy reshaping the ancient world. No biopic could do him justice. Try-selling star of empire rise and fall to Hollywood. From spreading Greek culture to dreaming of East-West unity, his contradictions, genius and recklessness, define a legacy that inspires yet warns of ambition's cost. Be thankful your dreams involve startups, not building empires that crumble without you, as we trace his enduring mark. Alexander's conquests seed the Hellenistic age, blending Greek culture with the East, per Arian. His 20-plus Alexandria cities, especially in Egypt, 331 BCE, become hubs of knowledge, per Plutarch. Alexandria's library, completed under Ptolemy, hosts Euclid and Eratosthenes, who measures Earth's circumference, per Diodorus Siculus. Hellenistic art, like the Laocoon statue, fuses Greek precision with Eastern emotion, per Curtius Rufus. His scientific curiosity, sending exotic flora and fauna to Aristotle, fuels natural history, per Plutarch. Picture a conqueror doubling as a scientist. No research grant could match this quest. Be grateful, your curiosity doesn't require an army. His fusion policy, Susa's mass weddings, 324 BCE, Persian attire, and local appointments, plants seeds for a multicultural world, per Arrian. Though his empire fractures, Hellenistic kingdoms like Ptolemaic Egypt and Seleucid Asia carry his vision, per Curtius Rufus. To Greeks he's Achilles reborn, to Persians a destroyer, yet his east-west dream shapes civilizations, per Diodorus Siculus. Picture a visionary whose ideas outlive his empire. No global initiative could rival this impact. Be grateful your legacy doesn't demand conquering continents. His genius shines in victories like Gaugamela, 331 BCE, and Gedrosia's defiance, 325 BCE, driven by his cry, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try," per Plutarch. Yet his failure to name a successor, only to the strongest, unleashes Diadochi Wars, per Arrian. His recklessness, from the Cup of Hercules to Cleitus's death, reveals a mortal flaw, per Curtius Rufus. He lives as he vowed, short but glorious, per Diodorus Siculus. You stand under Babylon's stars, his legend blazing, empire fading. No TED Talk could sell this life. Be grateful your ambitions don't burn so bright they blind. Alexander's legacy, Hellenistic culture, Alexandria city's east-west fusion, reshapes history, inspiring Rome and beyond, per Plutarch. His contradictions, brilliance and impulsiveness, teach that ambition can change worlds but risks chaos, per Arrian. Under Babylon's moon, his whisper, "There is nothing impossible," echoes, a meteor's trail across time. Let sleep carry us to his eternal horizons, where glory and tragedy intertwine. We've just marched through the epic chapters of history, where Alexander the Great carved empires with unmatched valor, outwitted armies with dazzling tactics, and wove a legacy of conquest that stretched from the sands of Persia to the rivers of India. From the storm-swept banks of the Hydaspes to the rugged peaks of the Hindu Kush, from the defiant fortresses of Sogdiana to the sun-scorched deserts of Gedrosia, Alexander etched his name in blood, brilliance, and moments of mercy that still captivate the world. His throne was not just a seat of power. It was a crucible of dreams, trials, and triumphs that reshaped the ancient world and echo in our imaginations today. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to keep these legendary tales alive. Your support powers our time machine, letting us unearth more stories that inspire and awe. Tell us in the comments, what makes Alexander your greatest conqueror? His fearless charge against war elephants, his genius in scaling impregnable cliffs, or his vision of uniting East and West? Are you still awake, lost in his glory? Let your thoughts drift, share them below, and help us keep history's fire burning. Your clicks and comments are our spark. Join us, and let's journey through the ages together again soon.